Chapter 836. The night grew darker and darker. Stars filled the night sky. The bright starlight and the bright moonlight reflected off each other, covering Xingluo Sky City in a layer of silver, sacred and noble. In the dead of the night, Yi Chunfeng tactfully declined the invitation to join the Falling Star Pavilion. After bidding farewell to Xing Manyu and the others, he headed directly to the First Thunder Dominion in the core area of the East City. After paying 100,000 points, Yi Chunfeng entered the First Thunder Dominion. He discovered that this place was the same as the outside world. It had day and night, moon and stars, just like a mystical small world. It's so late, why is this treasure house still so lively? The reason Yi Chunfeng came to the First Thunder Dominion at night was because he wanted to take advantage of the night when there were fewer people around to take a look at the First Thunder Dominion's treasure house and exchange for some useful items. But when he arrived at the treasure house, he discovered that it was still very noisy. Many strong martial artists were holding an exquisite picture book, flipping through it as they selected suitable treasures for themselves. Yi Chunfeng swept his eyes over the luxurious treasure house, then walked to a secluded area and picked up an exquisite picture book. Spiritual Strength Fruit, 8th Grade Heavenly Beast Monster Core. After flipping through the booklet, Yi Chunfeng discovered two spiritual objects that he was interested in. The Energy Spiritual Fruit and the 8th Stage Heavenly Beast's Demonic Core were the main ingredients for refining the True Spirit Body Tempering Pill. As for the True Spirit Body Quenching Pill, Yi Chunfeng had obtained another pill recipe from the God Eater Brain's soul fragment. Although the quality was far inferior to the Extreme Emperor Dao pill, if Yi Chunfeng could refine it, with the help of the True Spirit Body Quenching Pill's medicinal efficacy, he could completely refine the spirit bead in his Yongquan acupoint into a true spirit bead, greatly increasing his physical strength. How many points do this Spiritual Strength Fruit and the 8th Grade Heavenly Beast Monster Core cost? Yi Chunfeng walked in front of a woman wearing a green lotus root Chong Sam. She had a sweet smile on her face as she pointed at the Spiritual Strength Fruit and the 8th Grade Heavenly Beast Monster Core. This Spiritual Strength Fruit costs 500,000 points, and the 8th Grade Heavenly Beast Monster Core costs 1,000,000 points. The Chong Sam woman smiled at Yi Chunfeng, very skillfully reporting the prices. Alright, I'll change. Although the exchange price of the Energy Spirit Fruit and Grade 8 Heavenly Beast's Beast Core was beyond Yi Chunfeng's imagination, in order to refine the True Spirit Body Quenching Pills, he still decided to exchange for them, paying 1.5 million points. Yi Chunfeng's extravagance also attracted the attention of many people. The way the two men in black looked at him changed greatly. After exchanging for the treasures, Yi Chunfeng didn't stay in the treasure pavilion for long. He turned around and left. Treading through the night, he found a quaint inn and spent 1,000 points to rent a quiet room to rest. Dong dong dong. Yi Chunfeng had just cleared his mind of distracting thoughts and swallowed a heaven-rank soul pill to cultivate when a light knock on the door entered Yi Chunfeng's ears, waking him up from his cultivation. When the frowning Yi Chunfeng opened the door, he saw a woman in a tight black dress with light makeup standing outside the door. Her body exuded a strong fragrance. Because her black dress had a low neckline, her magnificent peaks were visually impactful, and her white cleavage was like a deadly poison, exuding endless attraction. You've found the wrong person? Although the woman in black dress was extremely alluring, Yi Chunfeng's heart didn't stir a single ripple as he coldly spoke. Young master, the night is long. Aren't you going to invite me in? Perhaps there will be a surprise. The woman in black dress lips curled up slightly, revealing a charming arc as she spoke coquettishly. After saying this, she didn't wait for Yi Chunfeng to speak and directly walked into the room. Arriving at the bedside, she charmingly glanced at Yi Chunfeng. Suddenly, she reached behind her back and undid the sash of her dress. In the next moment, the long black dress slid down her voluptuous body and fell to her ankles, revealing her snow-white skin, the belly band that was held up high, her slender waist, and her straight and slender legs. "What are you doing?" Seeing the seductive woman take off her clothes without a word, Yi Chunfeng's frown deepened as he coldly asked. "Young master, the night is lonely. Don't you want to do something with me?" The seductive woman threw a flirtatious glance at Yi Chunfeng and took the initiative to seduce him. Badger game. While the seductive woman was seducing him, Yi Chunfeng's powerful soul sensed 2 rank 3 defiant beast kings quietly approaching. A cold light flashed in his eyes as he guessed their intentions. "Young master, what are you waiting for? Am I not beautiful enough to make your heart flutter?" The seductive woman was very confident in her appearance and charm. She constantly made seductive poses to stir Yi Chunfeng's heart. "Okay, stop acting. Let your 2 companions in." The seductive woman did have the qualifications to be arrogant, but compared to Yu Nikhang, Shui Hanyan, and Bai Ziqing, her appearance was still lacking. Yi Chunfeng sat by the round table and slowly spoke while looking at the seductive woman. The moment Yi Chunfeng finished speaking, the seductive woman's expression immediately changed. The 2 rank 3 defiant beast kings hiding outside also rushed in at this time. These 2 men who were scheming against Yi Chunfeng were the black-clothed men who had seen Yi Chunfeng's extravagance earlier in the treasure pavilion and wanted to blackmail him. "Brat, you're quite bold. You actually dared to take off my sister's clothes and do something to her. Do you know that you've broken the rules of Xingluo Sky City? Do you believe that I won't report you and let the enforcers punish you? However, if you're willing to give us 1,000,000 points as compensation, then we'll forget about today's matter." The man with the centipede scar at the corner of his eye revealed a ferocious expression. He purposely used the rules of Xingluo Sky City to blackmail Yi Chunfeng. He had used this blackmail method more than once. Under the deterrence of Xingluo Sky City, it was effective time and time again, bringing them great benefits. "Hey, aren't you guys just trying to blackmail me for some points? Is there a need to be so hypocritical and go through so much trouble?" Yi Chunfeng looked at the man in black who was deeply immersed in his act and revealed a mocking smile. "Brat, I advise you to be obedient. Otherwise, if the enforcers are alerted, I'll make you suffer." The man in black saw that Yi Chunfeng didn't have a trace of fear on his face and immediately became angry. He loudly warned, "Are you done talking?" Yi Chunfeng poured himself a cup of tea, pursed his lips, and took a small sip. After speaking, Yi Chunfeng's hands moved like flowing water. With the help of his powerful Tao intent, thousands of overlapping runes formed and sealed the entire room. What do you want to do?" Seeing Yi Chunfeng's method of sealing the room with just a wave of his hand, the expressions of the black-clothed man and the black-clothed man, who smelled the scent of danger, changed drastically. As for the seductive woman, she was so frightened that she trembled, her face pale. "I'll send you to hell." Yi Chunfeng revealed a grim smile. The extremely sharp sword Tao pattern shot out from his fingers and pierced through the 3 men's heads at an extremely fast speed. PFFF, PFFF, PFFF. 3 bright red flowers of blood splattered in midair. The 3 men's heads were pierced through by Yi Chunfeng's sword Tao pattern. They fell heavily to the ground and died. After killing the 3 men in seconds, Yi Chunfeng released the death flame heavenly fire and burned the 3 men's corpses into ashes. He took away their belongings. 1,000,000 points. Yi Chunfeng revealed a faint smile. He was very satisfied with his harvest tonight. He cleared away all distracting thoughts and continued to regulate his breath and cultivate. He would head to the Thunder Pavilion at dawn. Mobile reading website, book address. To facilitate your next reading, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this reading record. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 837. Early in the morning, a red sun sprinkled gold and jade, gushing out of the clouds. After cultivating for most of the night, Yi Chunfeng adjusted his mental state to its peak. Leaving the inn, He spent 1,000,000 points and went directly to the second layer of the Thunder territory. What a rich Thunder attribute aura! After entering the second lightning domain, Yi Chunfeng discovered that he could absorb the lightning attribute particles in the spirit qi into his body as he inhaled and exhaled. Those who were not strong enough would be injured by the violent lightning attribute particles in an instant. However, Yi Chunfeng enjoyed absorbing the thunder attribute particles in his body. Under the baptism of these thunder attribute particles, the cells in his body became stronger and stronger. Yi Chunfeng operated the soul-devouring art, absorbing the thunder attribute particles in the spiritual energy into his body. At the same time, he walked towards the clear sky pavilion. The pavilion was made of golden tiles and reflected a dazzling golden light. There are so many people, and there is no lack of geniuses. Walking into the treasure pavilion, Yi Chunfeng saw that the first floor of the treasure pavilion was very lively. Nearly 100 people were choosing their own treasures. Among these 100 people, there were many young genius disciples. Among them, there were even 2 who had the strength of a level 5 beast king. Yi Chunfeng did not stay in the noisy first floor of the treasure pavilion. Following the spiraling ancient wooden stairs, he walked towards the highest floor of the treasure pavilion, the 5th floor. Walking to the 5th floor of the treasure pavilion, Yi Chunfeng was stopped by a level 6 profound beast ancestor woman wearing a green dress. Her aura was simple and elegant, and she had a professional smile on her face. Judging from the appearance of the girl in the green dress, she was definitely not more than 35 years old. She had cultivated for 30 years and had cultivated to the 6th level of the profound beast ancestor realm. Adding on her extraordinary appearance, if the girl in the green dress was in the northern spiritual region, she would definitely be called a proud daughter of heaven. However, she was willing to be a gatekeeper in the second layer of the Thunder territory to earn points. It was enough to see how attractive the cultivation resources of Xingluo Heaven City were. Young Master, the Treasure Pavilion's 5th floor is a diamond and gold plate star cultivator. Silver plate star cultivators need to pay 1,000 points to enter, and bronze plate star cultivators need to pay 5,000 points. I wonder what level star cultivator you are? The green-dressed woman smiled and asked in a gentle voice. I am a bronze plate star cultivator. When Yi Chunfeng entered the Thunder territory, he obtained an identity bronze plate, and to upgrade the bronze plate to a silver plate and become a silver plate star cultivator, he needed to win 10 matches in a row in the martial arts arena. And gold star cultivators were powerhouses who possessed 50 consecutive victories in the martial arts arena. In the Thunder territory, they were absolute powerhouses. They could enjoy many unique cultivation resources, and diamond star cultivators were even more powerhouses among powerhouses. For example, in the Star Field's Thunder Calamity Road, the Thunder Law Heavenly Pavilion, and the 9 floors of Heaven rank, only they had the qualifications to enter for experience. Young Master, bronze plate star cultivators need to pay 5,000 points to be able to enter. I wonder if you still want to go in? Knowing that Yi Chunfeng was only the most ordinary bronze star cultivator, the green-skirted woman's face did not change in the slightest, her voice sweetly asking, Go in. Yi Chunfeng nodded and paid the 5,000 points. In his heart, he was endlessly admiring Xingluo Heaven City's method of earning points. He did not dare to imagine how much wealth Xingluo Heaven City had used these useless points to exchange for. He felt that in terms of wealth, the Eastern Continent's #1 power, the East Sea Palace, could not compare to Xingluo Heaven City. Young Master, please come in. Seeing Yi Chunfeng's expression remain unchanged as he paid the 5,000 points, the green-skirted woman's smile became even wider. She opened the forbid dance and personally escorted Yi Chunfeng to a private room on the 5th floor, where she poured him a cup of dark green spirit tea. Young Master, do you need me to stay and accompany you? On the 5th floor of the treasure house, In addition to being able to purchase the most precious treasures, one could also enjoy some additional services. And if Yi Chunfeng was interested, he could pay some points and make love with the green-skirted woman. No need, I just came to buy something. Yi Chunfeng looked at the beautiful green-skirted woman, shook his head, and tactfully refused. Then I won't disturb young master. Despite being rejected, the green-skirted woman's face still did not change. Revealing a sweet smile, she slowly retreated. After a while, a white-haired old man wearing a white martial arts suit and gold-rimmed glasses walked in with a half-inch-long jade strip in his hand. Young master, all the treasures and prices in my treasure house are in the jade strip. Young master can carefully browse. The white-clothed old man handed the jade strip in his hand to Yi Chunfeng and slowly said, "Okay." Yi Chunfeng nodded. He released his soul power into the jade slip and quickly browsed through it. After about half an incense's time, Yi Chunfeng withdrew his soul power, opened his eyes and said, "I want to buy thunder silk grass, heavenly blood fruit, and golden goblin blood essence. Because young master is only a bronze star cultivator, there is no discount. So if young master wants to buy these 3 great spirit items, you need to pay the full price, a total of 2 million points." The white-haired old man said, "Okay, I'll buy them." Although Yi Chunfeng knew that the value of these 3 spirit items was definitely more than 3 times that of the outside world, the thunder silk grass was one of the main ingredients to refine the true spirit body tempering pill. The golden goblin blood essence was very useful to the space-swallowing bugs, and the heavenly blood fruit could strengthen the power of the spirit fish bloodline. They could not be missed. So Yi Chunfeng still paid a high price, bought these 3 spirit items, and got up to leave. I really don't have enough points. After buying these 3 spirit items, Yi Chunfeng's points were less than 8 million. He gently sighed and prepared to go to the Thunder Pavilion to cultivate for a while, then go to the martial arena to earn points. The Thunder Pavilion was a unique cultivation ground of the Thunder Territory. Not only was the spirit energy inside rich, it also contained a large amount of thunder attribute particles. Cultivating inside could not only increase one's cultivation speed, but also temper one's body. It was the favorite cultivation ground of the Thunder Territory's martial artists. After asking around, Yi Chunfeng came to the northwest of the Second Thunder Territory. It was located in a black stone mountain, shrouded in thick thunder clouds. It was shaped like a pagoda and it was 9 stories high. Forbidden Thunder Cloud. Looking at the black thunder clouds above the Thunder Pavilion, Yi Chunfeng's powerful soul immediately sensed that these thunder clouds were not real. Instead, they were formed by tens of thousands of multiplying array patterns. They could continuously condense heavenly thunder and provide enough energy for the Thunder Pavilion. I want to rent a level 9 thunder house for a month. He walked into the Thunder Pavilion, which was filled with thunder attribute particles, and came to the renting area. "Which faction do you belong to?" The man in the dark blue robe raised his head slightly and looked at Yi Chunfeng, who was unfamiliar to him, and asked in a neutral tone. "Neither." Yi Chunfeng said. "Then I'm sorry. The thunder houses above level 5 in the Thunder Pavilion have been reserved by the major factions or families in Xingluo Sky City. Others can only rent thunder houses below level 5. The man in the blue robe said tactfully. "What if I don't want to?" Thunder houses below level 5 were not very useful to Yi Chunfeng. He frowned slightly and said in a cold voice, "These are the rules of the Thunder Pavilion. I can't change them." The man in the blue robe said firmly, "And I advise you not to cause trouble." However, just as he finished speaking, Yi Chunfeng's eyes shot out a huge amount of illusion Dao patterns and injected them into his eyes. Instantly, Yi Chunfeng controlled his brain and consciousness. Then, Yi Chunfeng ordered him to open the level 9 thunder house at the top of the Thunder Pavilion. He entered and began a month of seclusion. P.S. If you want to see the original images of the characters in 8 Desolates, add the WeChat public number, YLTY 83. Also, Cloud Tears VIP Group Number 279438822. Only VIP readers. Cloud Tears will send red packets to the group from time to time. When you enter the group, you will need the VIP number. Mobile reading website, book address. To make it easier for you to read next time, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this reading record. You will see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 838. This Level 9 Lightning House is indeed a rare place for cultivation. After activating the restrictions of the Level 9 Lightning House, the spiritual energy in the Lightning House instantly became rich. Amidst the pure spiritual energy, there was a large amount of lightning-attributed particles, which constantly stirred up sparks on the surface of Yi Qinfeng's skin. Sitting cross-legged on the futon in the center of the Lightning House, Yi Qinfeng took out a pseudo-Dao pill that emitted a strong medicinal fragrance. He swallowed it and cleared all distracting thoughts. Then, he began to cultivate using the soul-devouring tactic. As the soul-devouring incantation began to circulate faster and faster, the rich energy in the Level 9 Lightning House madly surged toward him. Soon, a vortex was formed above his head, and a large amount of energy and lightning attribute particles were madly pouring into his body. Soon 13 days passed. Just as Yi Qinfeng was completely immersed in cultivation, a thin man in a dark blue martial arts suit appeared outside the Level 9 Lightning House that Yi Qinfeng was in. He had a pair of sunken eyes and an aquiline nose. He gave off the feeling that he was not to be trifled with. His face was extremely gloomy. Motherf *Ker, who is this? How dare he occupy the Level 9 Lightning House of my Su family? Is he tired of living? Seeing that the Level 9 Lightning House was occupied, the blue-robed man flew into a rage and roared angrily. Third young master, I just asked around. The people of the Thunder Court don't know the identity of the person inside. They don't know how he got in. Because Yi Qinfeng had erased the memory of the man from the Thunder Court, no one in the Thunder Court knew of Yi Qinfeng's existence. As long as he is not from those families, it will be easy. The blue-robed man revealed a ferocious expression and ordered loudly, "Break the restriction of this Lightning House. I want to see who has the guts to occupy the cultivation resources of our Su family." Yes, third young master. The two Level 4 Defiant Beast Kings in Grey obeyed. They each took out their upper-grade celestial weapons and forcefully attacked the restriction of the Lightning House. Boom! 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 Under the ferocious attacks of the two, a deafening explosion rang out from the Lightning House where Yi Qinfeng was. The loud noise woke up Yi Qinfeng from his meditation state, making him very angry. It was a taboo to be disturbed during cultivation. If one was disturbed when they were on the verge of breaking through, it was possible that they would fail at the last moment. It was even more likely that they would suffer a backlash and go berserk. You're courting death. A vicious light flashed in Yi Qinfeng's eyes, and he immediately closed the Grade 9 Lightning House. The next moment, two beams of light blasted open the tightly shut bronze door. A blue-robed man with a vicious aura walked in with two Level 4 Defiant Beast Kings as his subordinates. When he saw Yi Qinfeng's unfamiliar face, he was completely at ease. With a sinister expression, he said, "Brat, how dare you? You actually dare to privately seize my Su clan's Level 9 Lightning House? Are you tired of living?" Pow! As soon as the blue-robed man finished speaking, he saw a blur in front of him. Yi Qinfeng suddenly appeared in front of him and slapped him on the left side of his face. The powerful force behind the slap sent him flying. His entire body drew a beautiful arc in the air before slamming heavily into the hard wall. A large amount of blood mixed with broken teeth splattered on the ground. Courting death. The two gray-robed men didn't expect Yi Qinfeng to be so daring as to injure them without saying a word. They were instantly enraged. Terrifying soul beast phantoms appeared in their bodies. They each held a high-grade celestial weapon and used powerful soul skills to attack Yi Chunfeng. They wanted to join forces and injure him severely. Humph! Seeing the two attacking with all their strength, Yi Chunfeng snorted coldly. He quickly pointed out two fingers. Finger lights filled with over 20 million gene of force crushed the air and pressed down on the two's terrifying attack. Kacha kacha! Two crisp cracking sounds rang out. The soul skills they used were broken. The high-grade celestial weapons in their hands couldn't withstand Yi Chunfeng's two-finger attacks and were directly distorted and shattered. Then, the finger lights that didn't diminish in power tapped on their chests. They broke through their defenses and penetrated their bodies. They were sent flying and were severely injured. You, who exactly are you? Seeing Yi Chunfeng shatter a high-grade celestial weapon with two fingers, the blue-robed man was scared out of his wits. Large amounts of sweat appeared on his forehead as he asked while trembling. A dead man doesn't need to know who I am. Yi Chunfeng looked coldly at the frightened blue-robed man and said with a murderous intent, "Wait, there was a misunderstanding just now. Please don't be angry. I am the third young master of the Su family. As long as you let me go, my Su family will naturally give you a big gift." After seeing Yi Chunfeng's terrifying strength and feeling his murderous intent, the blue-robed man was really scared. He immediately brought out his identity and background to pressure Yi Chunfeng. "No need." As Yi Chunfeng spoke, sharp sword patterns shot out from his fingertips and pierced through the blue-robed man's head, killing him on the spot. You actually killed third young master Su." Seeing the blue-robed man's head pierced through by the sword Dao patterns and dying, the two gray-robed men were scared out of their wits. They couldn't help but tremble as they spoke in horror. "So what if I killed him?" Yi Chunfeng looked at them indifferently and said domineeringly, "If your Su family isn't afraid of being annihilated, go ahead and take revenge for him." After speaking, Yi Chunfeng's body shot out more sword Dao patterns and attacked the two gray-robed men at an astonishing speed. In an instant, the two of them were pierced through by the extremely sharp sword Dao patterns. They fell into a pool of blood and died with thousands of holes in their bodies. When Yi Chunfeng killed third young master Su and the other two, the experts of the Thunder Court who heard the commotion rushed over. When they saw the corpses of third young master Su and the other two, they were all dumbfounded. Following which, the experts of the Thunder Court released their powerful auras and locked onto Yi Chunfeng. They were about to join forces to capture him and hand him over to the Su family for punishment. "If you don't want to die, scram." Yi Chunfeng looked coldly at the experts of the Thunder Court and said rudely, "How dare you? How dare you threaten us?" A level 1 combat beast emperor with snow-white hair and eyes flashing fiercely walked out from the crowd and scolded loudly. Bang! As soon as he finished speaking, Yi Chunfeng quickly took a step forward. All the bones in his body hummed at the same time. The energy in the 5 major acupoints was completely unleashed and surged into his right fist. Like a shooting star, the fist radiance compressed to the extreme flew out with unparalleled destructive power and bombarded the white-haired old man whose expression changed drastically. Feeling the terrifying power of Yi Chunfeng's fist, the white-haired old man roared. A ferocious spirit beast emerged from his body. He quickly crossed his palms in front of his chest to block Yi Chunfeng's fist radiance. When the fist and palm collided, more than 20 million gene of force exploded. The terrifying force was like a surging tide that surged into the white-haired old man's body. The impact forced him to retreat continuously. A large amount of blood spurted out from his mouth, and he almost fell to the ground. "You better not force me to kill. Otherwise, you will regret it." Yi Chunfeng looked coldly at the experts of the Thunder Court who widened their eyes and changed their expressions as he warned them coldly. After finishing his words, Yi Chunfeng stood up and left the Thunder Court under the respectful gazes of the experts. He went directly to the busiest arena in the Second Lightning region. Mobile reading website, book address, For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the bookmark button at the bottom to record your reading record. You will see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 839. Kill, Kill, Kill. When Yi Chunfeng arrived at the martial arena, where the air was filled with fanaticism and blood, he immediately heard the excited shouts from the spectator stands. Martial artists were standing in their seats, waving their arms and shouting. The atmosphere was very lively. Silence. Yi Chunfeng stood in the stands, his deep eyes constantly sweeping over the 6 massive martial stages, looking for a target. Who else? At this time, a 3-meter-tall bald man with explosive muscles, a ferocious wolf head tattooed on his chest, and a spiked club in his hand kicked his opponent away. He waved his arm and shouted arrogantly and overbearingly. Too strong, that Shang Guanhong is too strong. He's already won 39 matches in a row. If he wins one more match, he'll have a 40. This kind of strength would make him a top powerhouse in the 3rd-level Thunder Dominion. Yeah, he's in the limelight right now. Challenging him now is no different from throwing away one's life. But the gambling points accumulated to 1 million is too tempting. I think there's definitely someone who can't resist this huge temptation and will challenge Shang Guanhong. Many people were shocked by his strength and whispered to each other as they looked at the roaring, baleful bald man on the right side of the arena. 1 million gambling points, it'll be you. Hearing the whispers of the crowd, Yi Chunfeng's eyes lit up. Lightning flashed under his feet, and like a zigzagging bolt of lightning, he flew to the right side of the arena. See, I was right. Someone couldn't resist the gambling points and accepted Shang Guanhong's challenge. But this person is too weak. A 1st-level Reverse Beast King challenging a 5th-level Reverse Beast King. What's the difference between that and throwing away one's life? Seeing Yi Chunfeng fly onto the stage, many people were taken aback and revealed mocking smiles. Hee hee kid, you're really stupid. You want to challenge me with just a 1st-level Reverse Beast King? Do you believe that I won't break your neck? The bald man crossed his arms and looked at Yi Chunfeng with disdain, sneering. Whether I defeat you or not, the gambling points are all mine. Yi Chunfeng ignored the bald man's mocking gaze and said indifferently, "Ha ha, did I hear wrong? You want to defeat me? Do you know who I am? Do you know my strength?" The bald man was startled and then laughed arrogantly. The audience in the stands also laughed. For a moment, the scene was noisy and chaotic. "You talk too much nonsense," Yi Chunfeng said impatiently. "I'm here to fight, not to listen to your nonsense. You just need to tell me the rules." "Motherf *Ker, you reckless brat. I swear I'll twist off your dog head." The bald man was completely enraged by Yi Chunfeng's words. He glared at Yi Chunfeng with murderous intent. "According to the rules, you have to bet half of your points to challenge Shang Guanhong." At this moment, a deep voice rang out from the central grandstand. It was an old man in a black robe with a flushed face who spoke. "Okay, I'll bet 500,000 points." Yi Chunfeng glanced at the black-robed old man. Then, he happily took out 500,000 points for the bet. "Okay, the gambling fight between the two of you can begin." The red-faced old man secretly sized up Yi Chunfeng. He didn't find anything special about him, so he announced, "Brat, go to hell." The bald man roared. The muscles on his arm that was holding the mace swelled rapidly. He was like an angry lion. He swung the mace that was tens of thousands of kilograms and smashed it at Yi Chunfeng. Seeing that Yi Chunfeng was about to be smashed by the mace, a light flashed under his feet. In an extremely short period of time, he made 3 consecutive moves and dodged to the back of the bald man. In the next moment, the ancient heavenly lightning appeared in his palm. His palm turned into afterimages and slammed heavily on the bald man's back. It broke the bald man's defense and sent him flying. Heavenly lightning. He actually subdued a type of heavenly lightning. Seeing the various forms of ancient heavenly lightning in Yi Chunfeng's right hand, the red-faced old man and the others who had seen many things revealed a trace of shock. The way they looked at Yi Chunfeng changed greatly. The martial artists who were cheering for Shangguan Hong were all speechless. They couldn't believe that Shangguan Hong was injured in the first exchange. "I'll kill you!" Shangguan Hong was like an enraged lion. He quickly got up from the ground. Ignoring the injuries on his body, he swung the heavy mace at Yi Chunfeng. The terrifying mace tore through the air like a moving mountain. It was violent and ferocious. Ancient heavenly lightning break. Facing Shangguan Hong's ferocious attack, Yi Chunfeng didn't dodge. Instead, he released the extremely destructive ancient heavenly lightning to meet the attack. With a series of deafening roars of thunder, Shangguan Hong's mace shadows were all shattered by the ancient heavenly thunders. Bolts of lightning continued to strike his body, sending him flying once again. "Damn it! How can this brat subdue the heavenly lightning?" Shangguan Hong spat out a mouthful of blood as he fell heavily to the ground. There was no longer a trace of arrogance on his face. There was only fear, a deep sense of fear. "It's over." Yi Chunfeng compressed the ancient heavenly lightning to its limit. With a light tap of his finger, the ancient heavenly lightning turned into a lightning ball and shot it at Shangguan Hong, whose expression changed greatly. Rumble! The sound of thunder rang again. Shangguan Hong was sent flying out of the battle arena by the ancient heavenly lightning. He fell heavily to the ground and fainted. He won. He really won. He defeated Shangguan Hong, who had 39 consecutive victories. Seeing how Yi Chunfeng defeated Shangguan Hong in less than half an incense's time, the spectators on the right side of the arena fell silent. Almost all the spectators were shocked by the destructive power of the ancient heavenly lightning and were speechless for a moment. "I'll add another 500,000 points. I'll use 2 million points as a wager. Who dares to challenge me?" After defeating the bald man, Yi Chunfeng didn't leave immediately. Instead, he increased the wager as he looked around and said loudly. Although 2 million points was enough to make everyone's eyes turn red, no one dared to challenge him after witnessing the destructive power of the ancient heavenly lightning. "I'll do it." Suddenly, in the arena that had gradually quietened down, 8 experts wearing dark blue martial arts robes appeared. Among them, a tall and straight man with a black beard and bright eyes who was a level 1 combat beast emperor looked at Yi Chunfeng with killing intent as he said in a sinister voice, "Yi Chunfeng, don't worry. It's the Su family. Why are they here? Does the Su family have a grudge with this guy?" Seeing the sudden appearance of the 8 blue-robed men, many people recognized them. Their eyes lit up as they felt that there would be a good show to watch. "Su family, you guys came at the right time. I was worried that no one would give me points." After knowing the identity of the 8 blue-robed men, Yi Chunfeng was overjoyed. He said indifferently, "I'll add another 1 million points. I'll bet 3 million points." Wow! As soon as Yi Chunfeng finished his words, there was an uproar in the arena that had just quieted down. No matter how many points you have, you can't buy your life. Looking at the real murderer of Third Young Master Su, the blue-robed man who accepted the challenge leaped up and appeared on the arena. He took out 1,500,000 battle points and said coldly, "Brat, I promise you that you will regret being born into this world." "Make a promise? What's a promise? Is it very powerful?" Yi Chunfeng said mockingly. "You're courting death." A raging fury exploded in the blue-robed man's chest. He held a supreme-grade Heaven-tier spear in his hand and pierced through the layers of air, stabbing towards Yi Chunfeng. Mobile reading website, book address. To make it easier for you to read this book next time, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this book. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 840. Thunderbolt Flash. The blue-robed man thrust his spear at Yi Chunfeng. Several bolts of lightning flashed under Yi Chunfeng's feet. Yi Chunfeng was like a zigzag bolt of lightning. He flashed in front of the blue-robed man and appeared behind him. Back thrust. The blue-robed man reacted quickly. His body twisted quickly and elegantly stabbed behind him. He wanted to pierce Yi Chunfeng. Pa! Suddenly, a light flashed in front of his eyes. A powerful palm landed on his face. The huge force made his head tremble. Blood flowed out of his 7 orifices. His entire body was sent flying. Just as he was sent flying in the air, Yi Chunfeng grabbed his ankle. He exerted force with his entire body and slammed the blue-robed man's body into the hard ground with a beautiful suplex. Suddenly, a large amount of blood flowed out of his head and dyed his entire face red. Just as he burned his bloodline power and struggled to break free from Yi Chunfeng's grip to launch his strongest counterattack, Yi Chunfeng exerted force again. This time, he exceeded the blue-robed man's endurance. Another beautiful suplex pulled him up from the ground and slammed him to the other side. Then, Yi Chunfeng repeated the same move. He continued to use suplex and heavily injured the blue-robed man's body. After more than 10 suplex, the blue-robed man's body was covered in blood. His head was about to explode. He lay motionless in a pool of blood. Damn, isn't he too valiant? He directly smashed a combat beast emperor expert of the Su family half to death. How can this guy have so much strength? He humiliated the Su family. The remaining 7 emperors of the Su family won't forgive him. The spectators in the spectator stands were dumbfounded. Yi Chunfeng had attracted the attention of almost everyone in the spectator stands during the battle just now. I'll bet 4 million points. Who's next? Yi Chunfeng definitely would not let go of this opportunity to earn points. He increased the stakes as he looked at the 7 gloomy Su family experts with ferocious gazes. 4 million points. Although the 7 emperors of the Su family wanted nothing more than to cut Yi Chunfeng into 1,000 pieces, the shocking scene from before made them realize how terrifying Yi Chunfeng was. However, if they were to retreat like this, the Su family's reputation would definitely be ruined. For a moment they were caught in a dilemma. Alright, let's not waste any more time. If you're afraid, then all 7 of you can come at me together. I'll take on however many of you there are. Yi Chunfeng said domineeringly as he looked at the gloomy expressions of the Su family's experts. He didn't want to deal with these big fish. Crazy, this person must be crazy. A level 1 reverse beast king challenging 7 emperors? Did I hear that right? Level 1 reverse beast king realm? For a rank 1 defiant beast king to be so strong, this person must have been hiding his true strength. I feel like the Su family has kicked an iron plate this time. Humph, you really want to challenge the 7 of us? A level 2 combat beast emperor with white hair and an aquiline nose snorted coldly and said angrily. Although he knew that even if the 7 of them joined forces to defeat Yi Chunfeng, they would still lose face. However, they had no choice but to join forces to kill Yi Chunfeng and wash away their shame with his blood. Are you deaf? Do you want me to repeat myself? Yi Chunfeng deliberately mocked. All right, my time is precious. Let's not waste any more time. After I'm done with you, I still want to go to the Su family and ask for something. Damn, this person is too arrogant. He doesn't even put the Su family in his eyes. This is getting more and more interesting. Who is this person? Why have I never heard of him? It's my first time seeing him too. However, if he can really fight 1 against 7, his name will soon spread throughout the Second Lightning region. Boom! Hearing the whispers, the 7 Su family members could no longer control the anger in their hearts. They took out 2 million betting points and jumped onto the battle arena, surrounding Yi Chunfeng. Brat, I'll crush all the bones in your body and make you beg for mercy on the ground like a dog, the white-haired old man said while gritting his teeth as he looked at Yi Chunfeng coldly with a supreme-grade celestial artifact in his hand. After saying that, the 7 of them controlled their respective supreme-grade celestial artifacts and surrounded Yi Chunfeng. They wanted to end the battle quickly and teach him a lesson. The 7 of them launched their attacks one after another. They were airtight and there were no gaps. However, Yi Chunfeng, who was in the middle of the storm, was unmoved and fearless. As the ancient heavenly lightning flew out of his body, it turned into a thunderous roar and instantly tore apart the attacks of the 3 emperors and approached them. In the next moment, an extremely cold qi gushed out of Yi Chunfeng's body and froze the feet of the 3 emperors at an extremely fast speed. In the blink of an eye, the feet of the 3 emperors were frozen by the dual-polar ancient heavenly water. Their mobility was greatly affected. Bam, bam, bam! Yi Chunfeng quickly threw out 3 punches. The terrifying fist radiance smashed into the chests of the 3 emperors who couldn't dodge in time, shattering their sternum and sending them flying hundreds of meters away. They fell out of the battle arena and lost the battle. After severely injuring the 3 emperors at lightning speed, Yi Chunfeng quickly twisted his body and stepped on lightning to avoid the attacks from behind and from the sides. He appeared in a corner of the battle arena. Now it's only the 4 of you left, Yi Chunfeng said indifferently as he looked at the 4 emperors of the Su family with gloomy expressions. Attack with all your strength. Don't show mercy. The 4 emperors of the Su family didn't expect Yi Chunfeng to be so powerful. He was able to severely injure the 3 emperors in the blink of an eye. A trace of uneasiness appeared in their hearts. They didn't hesitate to burn their powerful bloodline and blood essence to go all out. Going all out? Yi Chunfeng looked at the 4 emperors of the Su family and revealed a mocking expression. But what's the use of going all out? As he spoke, Yi Chunfeng stepped on lightning again and attacked the 4 emperors of the Su family. Heavenly constellation. Yi Chunfeng closed in like lightning. The 4 emperors of the Su family didn't hesitate to unleash their Tao intent to the extreme and used the strongest Tao technique of the Su family. Surging soul power and Tao will transformed into 4 towering celestial phenomena that looked like they were stepping on hell. They charged towards Yi Chunfeng, wanting to crush him. 7 swords of judgment, eclipse. 40 sword Tao inscriptions and fire Tao inscriptions gushed out of Yi Chunfeng's body. They turned into a scarlet light sword that was like a scorching sun. It carried an unstoppable sword aura and tore through space. Like a fan, it slashed towards the 4 heavenly constellations. Boom! As the eclipse sword slashed across, the 4 heavenly constellations' massive bodies were split apart. In the next moment, the eclipse sword slashed towards the 4 emperors of the Su family. Their expressions changed drastically. Following 4 painful coughs of blood, the 4 emperors of the Su family, including the Class 2 Combat Beast Emperor, were all sent out of the arena by the eclipse sword and lost the match. The scene of Yi Chunfeng defeating the 7 peerless emperors of the Su family by himself shocked the entire battle arena. Many cultivators looked at him with reverence in their eyes. How about another bet? This time, I'll give you a handicap of 1 hand. Let's bet 5 million points. Yi Chunfeng challenged as he looked at the heavily injured experts of the Su family. You've gone too far. The leading elder of the Su family had never suffered such humiliation before. He was so angry that he wanted to vomit blood. His body trembled as he spoke. Yes, I've gone too far. Don't you want to teach me a lesson? How about this, let's bet less this time. We'll bet 3 million points. Even 2 million points is fine. Yi Chunfeng said. Let's go. Seeing that Yi Chunfeng treated them as free points, the 7 emperors of the Su family were driven mad. However, Yi Chunfeng's strength was too terrifying. They didn't want to embarrass themselves and left in humiliation. 8,300,000 points. Gambling is indeed the fastest way to earn points. I'll soon be able to gather 10 million points to enter the Triple Lightning Dominion. However, the 10 million points I need to enter the Triple Lightning Dominion will still be paid by you. Looking at the backs of the Su family experts, Yi Chunfeng revealed a faint smile. His body flashed slightly as he left the noisy arena and quietly followed them to the Su family. Mobile reading site, book address. In order to facilitate your next reading, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record your reading record. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 841. The Su family was an old 6th-rank family in Xingluo Heavenly City. They had an old ancestor who was a level 3 beast emperor. Their family was ranked 5th in Xingluo Heavenly City. In the entire Xingluo continent, other than Jiang, Bai Jasper Palace, Sun Luo Temple, and other superpowers, no one dared to provoke them. Family head, the 3rd elder and the others are back. An old man with snow-white hair and wearing a dark gray robe came to the back hall of the Su family manor. He spoke respectfully to a burly man with a well-defined face who was lying on a tiger leather chair with squinting eyes. The man was currently enjoying a massage from 2 women wearing thin gauze miniskirts who exposed their bodies. "Did you catch that audacious Xing?" The Su family head, Su Meng, asked in a low voice with a stern look in his eyes. "No." The 3rd elder and the others came back with injuries. The gray-robed old man said, "I heard that person is very strong." The 3rd elder and the others suffered a great loss. "Trash, a bunch of trash." Su Meng sat up and said angrily, "Tell them to come and see me." After a while, the 7 heavily injured 3rd elder and the others came to the back hall. Seeing the gloomy face of Su Meng and the twitching of the corner of his eyes, they felt nervous and quickly told him what happened, including Yi Chenfeng's terrifying strength. "You said that person hid his strength?" "His true strength is that of an emperor-level powerhouse." After listening to the 3rd elder, Su Meng's face became even more gloomy and he said coldly, "Yes, the 7 of us together couldn't defeat him. I'm sure that he hid his strength and is an emperor-level powerhouse." The 3rd elder nodded and said, "Housekeeper Su, bring a heaven-rank soul pill and invite Commander Jean here. Tell him that our Su family is in trouble and we need his help." Su Meng thought for a while and said that he wanted to use the law enforcers of Xingluo Heavenly City to deal with Yi Chenfeng. "No need to go through so much trouble. Didn't you want to catch me? I came here myself." Yi Chenfeng relied on the God-Eater brain and his absolute strength to tear apart the seal that enveloped the Su clan. He walked through the void step by step. "Patriarch, it's him. He's the one who killed the 3rd young master." Seeing Yi Chenfeng walk through the air, the 3rd elder and the others widened their eyes. They never thought that Yi Chenfeng would be so bold as to come to the Su family mansion alone. "You really have guts. You killed my son and injured the experts of my Su family. You even dare to come to my Su family alone to show off your strength. Do you really think that my Su family is easy to bully?" Su Jieshe appeared on the square and looked sharply at Yi Chenfeng's ordinary face as he spoke gloomily. "You're right. I'm really here to bully you." The corners of Yi Chenfeng's mouth curled up slightly. He looked at the stern faces of Su and the others and slowly said, "Give me 10 million points and I'll leave immediately. I won't bother you guys again in the future." Presumptuous. The old steward of the Su family, the gray-robed old man who was a 2nd-grade combat beast emperor, roared furiously. He merged with the power of his spiritual beast. The Tao of metal and fire gushed out of his body and turned into a Tao phenomenon. He trampled on the void and bombarded Yi Chenfeng. Great palm of 5 elements. When Steward Su used the heavenly phenomenon to attack, Yi Chenfeng immediately formed a palm seal. The Tao of metal, wood, water, fire, and earth condensed into a giant palm that covered the sky. It carried an unparalleled power and shattered the heavenly phenomenon with a single palm strike. It fell on Steward Su, whose expression changed greatly. Boom! When the great palm of 5 elements fell, Steward Su, who was a 2nd-grade combat beast emperor, was ruthlessly smashed into the collapsed ground. A large amount of blood flowed out of his bloody body as he directly fell unconscious. Tao of 5 elements. You actually cultivated the Tao of 5 elements. Steward Su and the others widened their eyes and looked at the incomparably domineering Yi Chunfeng with a look of disbelief. The Tao of 5 elements was very difficult to cultivate. One had to comprehend the Tao of metal, wood, water, fire, and earth at the same time and then merge the Tao of 5 elements together to cultivate the Tao of 5 elements. It could be said that those who cultivated the Tao of 5 elements were all shocking geniuses. The scene of Yi Chunfeng severely injuring Steward Su with a single palm strike deeply shocked their hearts and made them feel a deep fear. I don't want to bully you, nor do I want to start a massacre. Give me 10 million points and I'll leave immediately, Yi Chunfeng said coldly as he looked at the constantly changing expressions of Steward Su and the others. Your Excellency is very strong, but isn't 10 million points too much? At this moment, a blurry figure suddenly appeared. It was a slightly stooped old woman with a head full of silver hair. She was wearing a long robe with phoenix patterns and holding a dragon-head walking stick. She spoke in a hoarse voice. This silver-haired old woman was the greatest reliance of the Su family. She was Steward Su's biological mother, a level 3 combat beast emperor Su Fengxian. She was very famous in Xingluo Sky City. Very. The corners of Yi Chunfeng's mouth curled up slightly. He looked at Su Fengxian and said, How about this? If you can take a blow from me without getting injured, I'll leave immediately and won't cause trouble for you in the future. Okay, if I can't even take a blow from you, I'll give you 10 million points immediately. Su Fengxian's turbid eyes shone brightly as she said in a hoarse voice. After speaking, the phantom of a heavenly bird appeared on Su Fengxian's stooped body. Her strength rose steadily. In just 2 breaths, Su Fengxian, who had fused with her spiritual beast and burned her bloodline power, reached the limit of a level 3 combat beast emperor. A large amount of soul power boiled on the surface of her body, causing ripples to appear in the air. Get ready, I'm going to attack. Sensing Su Fengxian's increasing strength, Yi Chunfeng's expression didn't change at all. He reminded her calmly, and the power in his 5 acupoints erupted. 7 swords of judgment destroy. Yi Chunfeng used his hand as a sword. 2,500 pounds of force, 80 sword Tao patterns, and the 5 elements Tao intent fused together and turned into a 1-foot destroyer ship that slashed forward. The terrifying sword caused a deep sword mark to appear in the space. It swept away everything in its path and slashed on the defensive light curtain that Su Fengxian had created continuously and fused with a large amount of soul power and Tao intent. Crack! The defensive light curtain created by Su Fengxian couldn't withstand the burning and the destroyer ship shattered. The space in front of Su Fengxian even showed signs of collapsing. The terrifying sword momentum directly blasted on Su Fengxian's body, whose expression changed drastically. It broke through her body's defense and sent her flying. A large amount of blood spurted out uncontrollably from her mouth. After the sword strike, Su Fengxian, who was a level 3 combat beast emperor, was seriously injured. Now, you are willing to give me 10 million points, right? Yi Chunfeng looked down at Su Fengxian and the others, who had a drastic change of expression and revealed a look of fear. He questioned them without allowing them to resist. Yes, give him 10 million points. After witnessing Yi Chunfeng's terrifying strength, Su Fengxian was also a little scared. She had no doubt that Yi Chunfeng definitely had the terrifying strength to wipe out the Su clan. Yes. Su Fengxian, who was completely intimidated, didn't dare to insist anymore. He obediently took out the 10 million points card and gave it to Yi Chunfeng. All right, the grudge between me and the Su clan is settled. Remember, don't try to use the Xingluo Sky City's enforcers to deal with me. If I find out that you still haven't changed, don't blame me for wiping out the Su clan. After taking away the 10 million points card, Yi Chunfeng gave a cold warning. He tore apart the restriction that shrouded the Sioux clan's residence and left forcefully. Remember the website address. Sanwu Chinese Network. Chapter 842. Late at night, the crescent moon hung high in the sky, reflecting the bright moonlight. The entire Xingluo Sky City was hazy, like a dream. Yi Chunfeng paid 10 million points. Just as he stepped onto the triple lightning territory that seemed to be built in the clouds, the communication pearl on his chest suddenly lit up. When he opened the communication pearl, Xing Manyu's pleading voice rang out. Something happened to the Falling Star Pavilion? Hearing Xing Manyu's helpless voice, Yi Chunfeng frowned slightly and left the triple lightning territory. He stepped into the night and came to the Falling Star Pavilion, which had just experienced a huge battle and had its protective array broken. He saw Xing Keru, who was heavily injured and being supported by Xing Manyu, walking out. What happened? Who did you provoke? Looking at the severely injured Xing Keru and the injured Xing Manyu and the rest, Yi Chunfeng asked softly. It's all my fault. I provoked a huge enemy for the Falling Star Pavilion. Xing Miaoyu, whose cheeks were red and swollen, sobbed as she recounted what had happened. You are not to blame for this. Yi Chunfeng looked at Xing Miaoyu, whose eyes were red from crying, and said indifferently. The Falling Star Pavilion was attacked because an expert had taken a fancy to Xing Miaoyu and wanted to take her as a concubine. If not for the enforcers of Xingluo Sky City being alerted at the crucial moment, Xing Miaoyu and her sister might have been forcibly taken away by that person. The Falling Star Pavilion would have suffered even more severe damage. Sigh. Fengchen, I did not expect Manyu to call you over. However, that person is very strong and his identity is not simple. Even the enforcers did not dare to suppress him. You better not get involved in this mess. Xing Keru did not know Yi Chunfeng's strength and sighed helplessly. Vice Pavilion Master, how are you going to get through this crisis? Yi Chunfeng looked at Xing Keru's pale face and asked softly. Sigh, I am going to send Manyu and the rest away and then spend some points to ask the people of Xingluo Sky City to mediate, Xing Keru said helplessly after taking a deep breath. How about this, Vice Pavilion Master? Give me the points you want to spend, and I'll help you solve the crisis of your Falling Star Pavilion. What Yi Chunfeng lacked the most right now was points, so he slowly said. Fengchen, I'm afraid you are not that person's match. Xing Keru shook her head and kindly reminded him, although he is only a 6th-grade Reverse Beast King, his attack power surpasses that of a 1st-grade Battle Beast Emperor. He is a peerless genius. Don't worry, Deputy Pavilion Master. Since I dared to show up, I naturally have full confidence. Yi Chunfeng's lips curled up slightly, brimming with confidence. This, Xing Keru and the others exchanged glances. They still had some doubts about Yi Chunfeng's strength. After all, if this matter was not handled properly, not only would it harm Xing Manyu and the others, but it would also harm the Falling Star Pavilion. They did not dare to take this risk. All right, you don't have a choice. If I'm not mistaken, that person is here. Yi Chunfeng looked at the troubled faces of Xing Keru and the others and smiled faintly. He then turned to look at the void in the distance. His powerful soul could clearly sense that a 6th-grade Reverse Beast King expert with a sharp aura had torn through the dark night sky. It was like a peerless flying sword, flying towards the Falling Star Pavilion. That person is here again? Is he going to challenge the rules of Xingluo Sky City? Xing Keru and the others' faces changed drastically, and the uneasiness in their hearts grew stronger. That peerless genius was definitely not a reckless person. He had repeatedly challenged the rules of Xingluo Sky City. He definitely had some unknown backing. Don't worry, leave everything to me. You just need to prepare the points. Looking at the pale and flustered faces of Xing Keru and the others, Yi Chunfeng smiled faintly and said calmly. Buzz! A shocking sword light streaked across the sky, cutting through everything in its path. It slashed towards the broken restriction above the falling star pavilion, wanting to rely on an absolute attack to break it. At this moment, 6th grade Tao intent gushed out of Yi Chunfeng's body and turned into a sword of Tao intent. It met the attack head-on and broke the shocking sword light. I didn't expect you to have invited helpers. The peerless genius who was flying rapidly revealed a trace of surprise. But it doesn't matter who comes. If you don't hand those two beauties over to me, your falling star pavilion will be annihilated. What a big tone, Yi Chunfeng sneered and said, Deputy Pavilion Master, open the restriction and let him in. Okay. Xing Kara hesitated for a moment, but still opened the severely damaged restriction that enveloped the falling star pavilion, allowing the peerless genius to fly into the front yard of the falling star pavilion. Devil Chi. He's from the True Demon clan. Yi Chunfeng looked at the man, who was wearing a black star-patterned robe and a pair of 7 stars boot. His long and narrow eyes gave off a ferocious light, and he gave off an extremely dangerous feeling. Yi Chunfeng's sharp senses detected the hidden demonic aura in his body. His eyebrows twitched slightly as he guessed his identity. The man in the black star robe looked coldly at Yi Chunfeng, whose aura was fluctuating, and said coldly, You're the one who broke my attack earlier? Yi Chunfeng looked at him indifferently with his hands behind his back and said, Sir, aren't you ignoring the rules of Xingluo Heavenly City by attacking the Falling Star Pavilion so recklessly? I don't know what the rules of the city are, but I know that the women I've taken a fancy to have never escaped from my grasp. The man in the star robe said domineeringly, If you want to be the hero who saves the beauty, don't blame me for breaking your neck. I'm definitely going to save this beauty. Yi Chunfeng's lips curled up slightly as he said playfully, And I'm going to stand here and wait for you to break my neck. You're courting death. The infuriated man in the star robe took a step forward, and a crimson centipede that was hundreds of meters long and had tens of thousands of feet appeared on his body. It rolled its body and attacked Yi Chunfeng. Your spiritual beast is not bad, but you're too weak. Yi Chunfeng stood in silence as the ancient heavenly thunder flew out of his body and turned into a huge thunderbolt net. It enveloped the centipede and crazily destroyed its soul body. Heavenly thunder. The man in the star robe narrowed his eyes as he looked at the ancient heavenly thunder that was making a deafening sound with a hint of surprise. I didn't expect you to have subdued a type of heavenly thunder. It seems that I have to be more serious. With that, the man in the star robe suddenly sped up, and 50 sword Tao patterns gushed out of his body and turned into a 30-foot-long giant sword. It had amazing destructive power and split open the thunderbolt net. In the next moment, the man in the star robe merged with the centipede, and his strength instantly surpassed the limit of the reverse beast king. He held the pseudo-Tao artifact Moonlight Sword and stabbed toward Yi Chunfeng. Lion King's roar. The man in the star robe attacked quickly, and Yi Chunfeng's upper body suddenly expanded. A terrifying sound wave erupted from his mouth and turned into a ferocious lion's head. It bombarded the man in the star robe with a force that could pierce through clouds and split rocks. Buzz! Being attacked by Yi Chunfeng's Lion King's roar at such a close distance, the man in the star robe's soul trembled. His blood and chi tumbled violently, and his reaction slowed down a little. In the next moment, a sword light flashed in front of his eyes, and an unstoppable light sword pierced toward his head, forcing him to dodge instinctively. When the star-robed man used his powerful strength to forcefully neutralize Yi Chunfeng's sword light, Yi Chunfeng took a step forward. Like a bolt of lightning, he suddenly appeared in front of the star-robed man and punched him in the chest, sending him flying. Thump, thump, thump. The man in the star robe, who had lost control of his body, kept retreating, leaving deep footprints on the ground. As he retreated, a large amount of blood spurted out of his mouth. In the short exchange, the man in the star robe was injured. Mobile reading site, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this reading record. You will see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 843. So powerful. Brother Feng Chen actually managed to injure him. Xing Manyu and her sister widened their eyes in shock when they saw the star-robed man vomiting blood and retreating in defeat. Excitement filled their faces. As for the severely injured Xing Keru, her eyes also lit up. From the powerful battle prowess that Yi Chunfeng had displayed, he might really be able to resolve the Falling Star Pavilion's crisis. Your strength is only so. Yi Chunfeng mocked coldly as he looked at the star-robed man who had retreated 13 steps before stabilizing himself. True demon heaven technique. The star-robed man took a deep breath and suppressed his surging blood. He circulated his powerful demonic technique and prepared to launch a fatal attack to kill Yi Chunfeng to vent his anger. Stop, all of you, stop! Suddenly, a deep voice rang out in the dark night sky. Over a dozen law enforcers wearing golden armor and wielding divine weapons rushed over when they heard the commotion. Third Commander, this person has come to our Falling Star Pavilion to cause trouble again. Third Commander, please help us suppress this person. The pale-faced Xing Keru immediately cried out for help when she saw the leader of the group, who had a tall figure and a thick black beard, and emitted a powerful pressure. Young Master Lin, the Falling Star Pavilion has a close relationship with the Great Commander. I hope that young Master Lin can give face to the Great Commander and stop making things difficult for them, the Third Commander said politely as he looked at the star-robed man. Thump! Xing Keru and the rest felt their hearts skip a beat when they saw the Third Commander's attitude. They felt deeply uneasy. I said, let me take the two of them away. I will not cause trouble for the Falling Star Pavilion anymore. The star-robed man frowned when he saw the Third Commander and the other law enforcers rush over. He suppressed the anger in his heart and spoke domineeringly. Impossible. I will not let you take them away. Yi Chunfeng refused coldly. He would not allow Xing Manyu and her sister to be defiled. Third Commander, do you see that? It's not that I don't want to give the Falling Star Pavilion a chance. It's just that someone doesn't know what's good for him. I advise you to stop meddling in other people's business. The man in the star robes looked sharply at Yi Chunfeng as he spoke in a sinister manner. All right, let's not talk about these useless things. I challenge you now. Let's go to the martial arena and have a life and death battle. I wonder if you dare to accept my challenge? Yi Chunfeng laughed coldly. A life and death bet? Betting points? The man in the star robe frowned slightly, and the killing intent in his eyes intensified. If you don't dare, then hurry up and get lost. Don't embarrass yourself here. Yi Chunfeng intentionally provoked him and taunted. Fine. I'll do as you wish. We'll have a life and death bet, the man in the star robe said with a murderous look. Since that's the case, let's go. I'll be waiting for you at the Thunder Region's battle arena. I hope you won't be too scared to come. After he finished speaking, Yi Chunfeng's body flickered and he transformed into a bolt of lightning, tearing through the night as he flew towards the sky-split tower. I swear I'll skin you alive. The arrogant man in the star robe was completely enraged. He angrily roared and followed Yi Chunfeng towards the Thunder Region. Vice Pavilion Master, do you think Big Brother Feng Chen can win? Looking at the two people's departing backs, Xing Miaoyu nervously asked. If Yi Chunfeng was defeated, then he would most likely be killed by the man in the star robe. Yes, I believe that Big Brother Feng Chen will definitely be able to defeat him. Let's go, we'll go to the first lightning territory and cheer for Big Brother Feng Chen. Xing Manyu bit her red lips and said. Her voice was filled with trust for Yi Chunfeng. Late at night, the Thunder Region's battle arena was not as noisy as it was during the day. Out of the 6 square battle arenas, there was only a single battle arena going on. There were only a few people in the stand. Just as the person in charge of the battle arena was about to fall asleep, an ear-piercing sound pierced through the air, causing him to open his eyes. Then, his vision blurred as two extremely fast figures appeared on the battle arena. What fast speed! Seeing the sudden appearance of Yi Chunfeng and the man in the star robe, the person in charge of the battle arena, a white-haired old man, revealed a trace of surprise. He did not expect that two peerless geniuses would duel in the middle of the night. "Brat, I promise I will crush your dog head and send you to hell." The man in the star robe looked at Yi Chunfeng with a cold gaze and said with a murderous aura, "Cut the crap. 8,000,000 points, do you dare to bet with me?" Yi Chunfeng sneered. 8,000,000 points. Hearing Yi Chunfeng's bet, the man in the star robe frowned. Although he was arrogant and had an extraordinary background, he did not have that many points. The person in charge of the battle arena was also shocked by Yi Chunfeng's bet. 8,000,000 points was almost enough to exchange for a low-grade Dao tool. "What, you don't dare to bet?" Looking at the man in the star robe, who had a gloomy expression and did not reply for a long time, Yi Chunfeng sneered unceremoniously. "Weren't you very arrogant just now? Why are you suddenly mute?" "I only have 8,000,000 points." The man in the star robe glared at Yi Chunfeng and said sullenly, "So you are a pauper? How boring!" Yi Chunfeng curled his lips and said unhappily, "This pseudo-Dao tool is worth 3,000,000 points. If you can defeat me, it is yours." The man in the star robe took out a black heavy sword that was engraved with a large number of array patterns and weighed 150,000 kilograms. "If you say it's worth 3,000,000 points, then it's worth 3,000,000 points. Also, if I kill you, everything you have will be mine," Yi Chunfeng said coldly. "Damn it, are you going to fight or not?" The man in the star robe was about to go crazy. Blue veins popped out on his forehead as he roared like an angry lion. "Forget it. Since you are so poor, let's bet 8,000,000 points." Yi Chunfeng looked at the man in the star robe who was fuming with anger. His face was flushed red and his body was emitting a strong murderous aura. "I will definitely tear you to pieces." The man in the star robe, who had been humiliated, gritted his teeth and said. He could not wait to kill Yi Chunfeng to vent his anger. "Don't worry, the person who will die will definitely not be me. Elder, we are going to bet 5,000,000 to 800,000 points. Please be our witness." Yi Chunfeng looked at the person in charge of the night arena and said, "Bet on life and death? Have you really decided?" The old man asked in surprise. Although there were fights every day in the arena, very few people would bet on life and death. After all, there was only one life. Ordinary people would not bet on life and death. "We have decided," Yi Chunfeng and the man in the star robe said at the same time. "Since all of you have made up your minds, then only one of you will walk out of this battle alive," the old man announced in a loud voice. Boom! As soon as the old man finished speaking, a terrifying murderous aura erupted from the man in the star robe. He was like a ferocious demonic beast. His murderous aura overflowed and made people feel like their insides were being torn apart. When the man in the star robe was about to launch a fatal attack, Yi Chunfeng's aura also changed. He was like an unsheathed divine sword that was extremely sharp. Just as the battle was about to start, Xing Keru, Xing Miaoyu, and the third commander appeared in the arena to watch the battle between the two of them. In addition to Xing Keru and the others, there was also a blurry shadow following them. However, this person's method of concealing his aura was very brilliant. He merged with the darkness, and no one discovered his existence. "Ha!" Yi Chunfeng and the man in the star roared. Sword Dao intent gushed out of their bodies at the same time. They intertwined with the terrifying power of Sword Dao and fought fiercely. Mobile reading home, book address. To make it easier for you to read it next time, you can click on the save button at the bottom to record this reading record. You will see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 844. 10 Kill Sword. The man in the star robe gripped the ancient pattern heavy sword tightly with both hands. Powerful sword Dao pattern and death Dao intent were intertwined as he slashed at Yi Chunfeng, wanting to kill him with a single slash. After being attacked by the 10-kill sword, Yi Chunfeng didn't dodge or take out any Dao artifact. Instead, he welcomed the attack with his bare hand. The man in the star robe didn't expect Yi Chunfeng to be so arrogant as to use his bare hands to welcome the attack. The killing intent in his eyes intensified as he wanted to chop off Yi Chunfeng's arm to shut him up. Xing Manyu and her sister, whose hearts were in their throats, were so frightened that they closed their eyes and didn't dare to continue watching. Bang! As the palm and sword clashed, there was a burst of blinding radiance that lit up the dimly lit arena. The terrifying power was like a raging wave that swept out in all directions. What? When the sword slashed at Yi Chunfeng's palm, the man in the star robe felt as though he was slashing at a 10,000-year-old meteoric iron. A powerful rebounding force passed through the ancient pattern heavy sword and into his arm, causing his arm to feel numb. Lion King's roar. While the man in the star robe was still in shock, Yi Chunfeng released another powerful roar. It was like a surging wave that blasted at the man in the star robe. True Devil Heaven technique. At this critical moment, the man in the star robe circulated his powerful demonic art and released billowing demonic aura that gathered in front of him. It formed a tough barrier that resisted the attack of the Lion King's roar. Sword Fist. When the demonic aura barrier resisted the attack of the Lion King's roar, Yi Chunfeng quickly took a step forward. 50 sword Dao patterns fused into his right fist as he blasted at the demonic aura barrier and shattered it. The powerful aftershock forced the man in the star robe to retreat. True Devil Hand. The man in the star robe suppressed his surging blood essence and circulated the true Devil Heaven technique to the extreme. He formed a sky-covering devil hand with unparalleled pressure and pressed down on Yi Chunfeng. Using demonic techniques without any restraint, it seems like Xingluo Sky City and the True Demon Clan are really working together. Yi Chunfeng's eyes narrowed as he looked at the true demon hand that was filled with demonic aura. 60 sword Dao patterns surged out of his body and transformed into a shocking sword that slashed apart the true demon hand. If Yi Chunfeng hadn't deliberately concealed his strength and didn't want to expose himself too early, he could have easily killed the man in star robes. Bloodline Ignition. The man in the star robe didn't expect Yi Chunfeng's battle prowess to be on par with his own. Without hesitation, he ignited the power of his bloodline, and the phantom of a sky-reaching centipede appeared on his body. With the increase in his strength, the power of his true devil hands became even stronger. Giant hands of devil qi descended from the sky, suppressing Yi Chunfeng's body. The air in the entire arena was constantly being compressed and exploding, and the dense sound of air exploding could be heard incessantly. This person's attack is too strong. This level of attack is probably comparable to a Grade 2 combat beast emperor. Seeing the descending true devil hands, Xing Keru and the others became increasingly nervous. They were afraid that they would see the scene of Yi Chunfeng being defeated and killed. Sword Dao Pattern, 7th Heaven. Yi Chunfeng didn't dodge the continuous attacks of the true devil hands. He raised his sword Dao intent to the 7th Heaven. Dense sword patterns surged out of his body and continuously tore apart the descending true devil hands. And Sword Dao intent, 7th Heaven. The man in the star robe raised his eyebrows. He didn't expect Yi Chunfeng to have such a deep understanding of the sword Dao. For the first time, he revealed a grave expression. 5 elements Dao intent fist. After controlling the 7th Heaven sword Dao intent to destroy the giant true devil hands, Yi Chunfeng's feet flashed in the void and approached the man in the star robe. The terrifying 5 elements Dao intent surged out of his body like a surging tide. Because Yi Chunfeng intentionally concealed his strength, he only used the second level of the 5 elements Dao intent. When he blasted out a punch, the 5 elements Tao intent turned into a fist light that was the size of a water tank. It dragged a gorgeous light tail, and was incomparably domineering as it bombarded the man in the star robe with an insufferably arrogant attitude. Fifth Heaven Sword Tao / Feeling the suffocating feeling brought by the 5 elements Tao intent fist, the man in the star robe didn't shrink back. He wielded the 150,000 kilogram ancient pattern heavy sword and slashed with all his strength. Boom, boom, boom. When the two attacks collided, there was an earth-shattering explosion that caused the air in the martial arena to surge violently. Just as the man in the star robe relied on the destructive power of the ancient pattern heavy sword to block the 5 elements Tao intent fist, Yi Chunfeng blasted out another 5 elements giant hand that descended from the sky and enveloped the man in the star robe. It ruthlessly suppressed his body. Black Snake Ruler. Unable to dodge, the man in the star robe spat out a black light. A black snake-like ruler shot out of his mouth and collided with the 5 elements giant hand to block the suppression attack. Karu, is he from your falling star pavilion? The third commander asked with slight surprise as he looked at Yi Chunfeng, who had comprehended the 5 elements Tao intent and the 7th level sword Tao intent. It could be said that Yi Chunfeng's strength and talent had exceeded his imagination. No, he's not from my falling star pavilion. Xing Kara shook her head and said, I don't know his true identity, but he's a great benefactor of my falling star pavilion. What? You can't help but use your heavenly treasure? Yi Chunfeng revealed a mocking smile as he looked at the black snake ruler that was hovering above the man in the star robe. He said, It's useless even if you use your heavenly treasure. You're definitely going to die today. Shameless boasting. The star-robed man flew into a rage out of humiliation and roared. He continuously channeled his soul power into the black serpent ruler and controlled it to transform into a giant black serpent. It opened its bloody mouth and revealed its long fangs as it bit towards Yi Chunfeng. Fist sword, break for me! Yi Chunfeng immediately activated the power of his 5 apertures as the black snake ruler attacked. He secretly raised the strength of his physical body to 15 million Jin and fused the 7th level sword Tao intent to meet the attack head-on. Gotcha! The transformed black snake couldn't withstand the fist sword's attack and shattered. The fist sword's power didn't decrease in the slightest as it fiercely bombarded the black snake ruler. The surging power and sword Tao intent surged into the black snake ruler and forcibly cracked it. What? How can his fist be so hard? It actually cracked the black snake ruler. The man in the star robe's eyes almost popped out of their sockets when he saw the cracks on the surface of the black snake ruler. His heart was beating wildly as he revealed a shocked expression. What other tricks do you have? Use them all. Otherwise, I'm afraid you won't have a chance. After cracking the black snake ruler with a single punch, Yi Chunfeng roared madly. A light flashed under his feet as he approached the man in the star robe once again. He waved his invincible arms like a savage beast and madly attacked the man in the star robe. True devil heaven technique, true devil sword. After his attacks were suppressed by Yi Chunfeng, the man in the star robe also started to fight with all his might. The power of his bloodline was completely ignited as he circulated the true devil heaven technique to the extreme. He continuously slashed the true devil sword at Yi Chunfeng. However, Yi Chunfeng's strength was far superior to his. Coupled with his indestructible body, the man in the star robe couldn't hurt him at all. As Yi Chunfeng continued to control the 5 elements Tao intent to attack, the 5 elements giant hands slammed down and bombarded the man in the star robe. The terrifying Tao intent shook the man in the star robe and forced him to retreat continuously. A large amount of blood spurted out from his mouth. Sword Tao intent / When the ancient pattern heavy sword in the hands of the man in the star robe was blasted away by the 5 elements Tao intent, 70 sword Tao patterns gushed out from Yi Chunfeng's body and transformed into a shocking sword. It slashed towards the man in the star robe with boundless killing intent. The sword pierced through everything and left a deep sword mark in the chaotic space. TSK. The man in the star robe's body was penetrated by the 70 sword Tao patterns. A large amount of blood flowed out from his body. His body went limp and swayed as he fell to the ground. It's over. You can go to hell now. Yi Chenfeng didn't show any mercy. The extremely sharp sword Tao pattern slashed out once again. He wanted to kill the man in the star robe in one go and end the battle. Suddenly, a black shadow appeared and penetrated the restriction that enveloped the martial arena at an astonishing speed. It appeared in front of the man in the star robe and helped him block Yi Chenfeng's sure-kill attack. Mobile reading website. Book address. In order to make it easier for you to read it next time, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this reading record. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 845. Who are you? Yi Chenfeng narrowed his eyes and questioned with a gloomy expression as he watched the black-clothed elder tear apart the sword Tao pattern and pull the star-robed man back from the brink of death. Junior, where it's possible to let people off, one should spare them. You've already won, so take your points and leave. The elder, who was wearing a loose black robe, his face was filled with wrinkles, and his eyes were cloudy. I will leave after killing him. Although the black-clothed elder was very strong and had reached the level of a Class 3 combat beast emperor, Yi Chenfeng wasn't afraid at all and insisted. Elder Ji, kill him for me. I want to tear him into pieces. The star-robed man spat out a mouthful of blood and got up from the ground. He looked at Yi Chenfeng with hatred, who brought him endless humiliation and almost killed him. Coward, where is your domineering attitude just now? Didn't we say that we would fight to the death? Why are you asking for help now? If I were you, I would have killed myself long ago so that I wouldn't embarrass myself, Yi Chenfeng mocked loudly. Why? Did I say something wrong again? Yi Chenfeng looked at the star-robed man whose face was flushed red and his body was trembling. He said, We found someone to be a witness. Are you going back on your words? I will give you another 1,000,000 points, and we will forget about today's bet. The black-clothed elder tried his best to control his emotions and said coldly, I will give you 2,000,000 points. Scram back to where you came from and don't meddle in other people's business. Yi Chenfeng snorted and said overbearingly, Also, no one can save him. He will definitely die today. How dare you? The black-clothed elder was completely infuriated by Yi Chenfeng. A terrifying murderous aura burst out from his body and caused his black robe to flutter in the wind. In the next moment, the black-clothed elder emitted boundless murderous aura that turned into a sharp blade that could take away lives. It cut through the air and slashed towards Yi Chenfeng with astonishing power. Lightning flash. Just as Yi Chenfeng was about to be struck by the blade filled with boundless killing intent, rays of illusory light appeared beneath his feet. He transformed into a bolt of lightning, dodging the deadly sharp blade and flying towards the black-clothed old man. When he got close to the black-robed elder, 70 sword Tao inscriptions shot out like a boundless rain of swords and attacked him. They forcefully interrupted his attack and appeared in front of the star-robed man, who turned pale with fright. As I said, no one can save you. Go to hell obediently. Yi Chenfeng looked at the star-robed man whose pupils were dilated and his face was filled with fear. He condensed a sky devil rope and bound the man's body. Stop! The black-robed old man's heart tightened when he saw that the man in star robes was in danger. He roared angrily as he tried his best to stop him. Yi Chenfeng didn't care about the black-robed elder's angry roar. The sword Tao pattern that was condensed to the extreme shot out and broke through the star-robed man's body defense. It penetrated his head and killed him on the spot. You! How dare you? Do you know who he is? The black-robed elder's mind went blank when he saw the star-robed man's head explode and die on the spot. Immediately after, billowing killing intent was released from his body. He was like a furious lion, roaring angrily. I have no interest in knowing who he is. I only know that this is a life and death bet. If he loses, he will die. Yi Chunfeng replied domineeringly. You are courting death. The black-robed elder was enraged when he thought of the death of the star-robed man. He had to capture Yi Chunfeng and hand him over to the true demon's tribe. Only then would he have a chance to live. Otherwise, if the star-robed man's grandfather, the second elder of the true demon's tribe, knew that he didn't protect him well enough and allowed his grandson to die miserably in Xingluo Sky City, he would definitely be killed to vent his anger. This person is too daring. If I'm not wrong, that black-robed elder is probably a level 3 combat beast emperor. That star-robed man's identity isn't simple either. Even the senior commander doesn't want to offend him. The third commander shook his head and said, If you kill him, your friend will be finished. Then what should we do? Isn't Big Brother Feng Chen in danger? Xing Manyu and her sister said nervously, Third commander, can you stop them? Sigh, that elder is much stronger than me. I can't do anything when he is enraged. The third commander, who had a good relationship with the Falling Star Pavilion, sighed softly. As the few of them were talking, the furious black-robed elder made his move. A pseudo-Dao artifact death scythe appeared in his hand. It formed a crescent-shaped blade shadow in midair and slashed towards Yi Chunfeng. As the death Dao will of the scythe slashed towards him, Yi Chunfeng's palm sucked in and pulled the 300,000 gene ancient rune heavy sword, which was left behind by the star-robed man. He unleashed a shocking force and held the heavy sword to meet the attack. Bang! The two's attacks collided. The 15 million gene force of the ancient rune heavy sword directly broke through the death scythe and slashed towards the black-robed elder, whose expression changed slightly. The two of them engaged in an intense battle. The black-robed elder was very powerful. His terrifying attack was close to that of a level 4 combat beast emperor. On the other hand, Yi Chunfeng had intentionally hidden his strength. He had no choice but to use his speed advantage to the extreme. Relying on his shocking speed, he engaged in an intense battle with the black-robed elder. Boom! 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 Thunderous sounds exploded in the battle arena, causing it to tremble unceasingly. Surging Dao wills madly clashed and surged out in all directions. Such powerful battle strength. Could it be that Feng Chen didn't use his full strength in the battle just now? Is this his true strength? Seeing that Yi Chunfeng was not at a disadvantage in the battle with the black-robed elder, the third commander's eyes widened as if he had seen a ghost. He was shocked by Yi Chunfeng's shocking battle strength. Unable to suppress Yi Chunfeng's attacks, the black-robed elder also revealed a shocked expression. However, he had no way out. If he couldn't capture Yi Chunfeng alive, then he would have to bear the fury of the second elder of the true demon race alone. True demon heaven arts. The black-robed elder took a deep breath as he circulated the true demon heaven arts at an extreme speed. He formed numerous true demon hands and pressed towards Yi Chunfeng with boundless destruction. His strength was far superior to the star-robed man. The power of the true demon hands formed by him had reached an extremely terrifying level. They slammed down in the void, forming a suffocating power that caused the space to distort. 5 elements Dao intent fist. Facing the attacks of the true demon hands, Yi Chunfeng didn't retreat. He constantly controlled the 5 elements Dao intent to resist. For a moment, the entire space was in chaos. The powerful Dao intent shook the restrictions around the battle arena violently, causing fine cracks to appear. 10 layers of heaven kill. Just as Yi Chunfeng was relying on the terrifying might of the Dao intent of the 5 elements to defend against the true devil's giant hand, the black-robed old man continued to attack. He held the scythe of the god of death in his hand and slashed out 10 layers of saber lights that slashed towards Yi Chunfeng. Bang! The 10 layers of heaven kill slashed onto the ancient rune-heavy sword above Yi Chunfeng's head. The powerful attack caused Yi Chunfeng to continuously retreat. A trace of blood flowed out from the corner of his mouth. However, this trace of blood wasn't caused by an injury. It was purposely forced out by Yi Chunfeng. After all, if his performance was too heaven-defying, it would be easy to connect him to the sword god on the 90 zhang celestial wall. Then, not only would he not be able to gain experience in Xingluo Heaven City, but he would also be pursued endlessly. Moreover, he worked hard to create the illusion of being injured, which also played a role in confusing the black-robed elder. Not good, Feng Chen is injured. Seeing Yi Chunfeng with blood flowing out from the corner of his mouth, Xing Keru and the others' hearts were in suspense. Their delicate faces were filled with worry, afraid that a tragic scene would occur. It's over. Surrender. When the black-robed elder saw that Yi Chunfeng was injured, he revealed an arrogant smile. He held the death god's scythe in his hand and slashed again. He wanted to heavily injure and suppress Yi Chunfeng while he was injured. Mobile reading site, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the Save button below to record this reading record. You will see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 846. Boom! Another thunderous sound rang out from the stage. Yi Chunfeng's ancient rune-heavy sword clashed with the death scythe, creating a boundless shockwave. PFFF, PFFF, PFFF. Yi Chunfeng, who was continuously retreating, forced out a few more mouthfuls of blood. He spat it into the air and retreated to the edge of the stage. The third commander looked at Yi Chunfeng, who was vomiting blood, and sighed softly. He shook his head and said, "Sigh, it's too late. That Feng Chen is powerless to reverse the situation. What a pity for his talent. Vice Pavilion Master, we must save Brother Feng Chen. He cannot die." Xing Manyu and her sister were so scared that their faces turned pale. They begged bitterly. "Save him? How can we save him?" Xing Keru's heart was filled with bitterness. With their strength, they could only be cannon fodder. They would be killed by the black-clothed old man with a wave of his hand. They could not pull Yi Chunfeng back from the brink of death. "Third Commander, I wonder if you can help. As long as you help, I can agree to any of your conditions." Xing Keru bit her lips and looked at the third commander, who once had improper thoughts about her, and begged. Seeing Xing Keru's helpless eyes, the third commander's heart wavered. However, no matter how beautiful a woman was, it could not be compared to life. The third commander sighed softly and rejected her. "Brat, obediently surrender." The black-clothed old man looked at the exhausted Yi Chunfeng and roared. He continued to slash at him with his death scythe, worsening his injuries. At this moment, the pale-faced Yi Chunfeng's body swayed slightly. He stepped on Lightning Flash, and like a winding lightning bolt, he dodged the fatal attack of the death scythe. "Old man, I will definitely kill you today." A black pill appeared in Yi Chunfeng's hand. Under everyone's gaze, he threw it into his mouth. Following that, Yi Chunfeng's soul power rose steadily. Soon, he reached the rank of a Rank 2 Beast Emperor. What kind of pill is that? It actually increased his strength to such a degree. The third commander's eyes widened in shock when he sensed that Yi Chunfeng's soul force had increased several dozen times over. As for the despairing Xing Keru and the others, they revealed looks of pleasant surprise and excitement. But what they didn't know was that Yi Chunfeng had just taken an ordinary pill. His goal was to create an illusion and reveal his true strength. Medicinal pill. Do you think a medicinal pill can save you? The black-clothed old man grunted coldly as he exerted the Death Dao insight to the limit, and he continued to attack Yi Chunfeng with the Scythe of Death in hand. The surging death energy completely engulfed Yi Chunfeng, destroying his body. However, Yi Chunfeng's body was comparable to a low-grade Dao artifact. The black-robed old man's death energy couldn't harm him at all. Amidst the death storm, Yi Chunfeng slashed forward with his ancient rune heavy sword. With the help of this terrifying heavy weapon, he forcefully deflected the Death Scythe's fatal attack. Illusory shark water shadow. Yi Chunfeng punched out with his left fist. The surging Tao insight and soul force transformed into a shark that was close to 10 meters long. It swayed its huge body in the void as it tore through the air and charged towards the black-robed old man, whose expression changed slightly. "Break for me!" The black-robed old man held the scythe of death tightly with both hands and slashed fiercely at the illusory shark water shadow, causing the terrifying giant shark to explode. However, the terrifying Tao insight that erupted from the illusory shark water shadow caused his blood to surge. Just as the black-robed old man was suppressing the surging blood in his body, Yi Chunfeng suddenly closed in on him. With the ancient rune-heavy sword in his hand, he fiercely slashed at his body. Yi Chunfeng raised his physical strength to 15 million kilograms. He brandished the 150,000 kilogram ancient rune-heavy sword and formed a terrifying attack power. He slashed at the black-robed old man's scythe of death in front of him, causing him to retreat repeatedly. The tide-like rebounding force surged into his arm, causing his skin and flesh to split open. A large amount of blood flowed out uncontrollably. He is injured. That black-robed old man is injured. Looking at the black-robed old man who was injured by Yi Chunfeng and was retreating repeatedly, the third commander and the others widened their eyes. What elixir is that? It actually has such heaven-defying power and forcefully raised his strength to such an extent. 10 heavens slash. The black-robed old man disregarded the injuries on his arms and held the scythe of death tightly with both hands. He slashed out 10 layers of killing light which overlapped and slashed at Yi Chunfeng. Sword of Flying Immortal. Yi Chunfeng didn't dodge. The 5 Tao intents and the sword Tao pattern fused into the ancient rune-heavy sword. A sword light that seemed to come from beyond the heavens tore apart the spatial zone. It was like a winding spatial crack and heavily clashed with the 10 heavens slash. Ka-cha-cha. When the two great Tao skills clashed together, the energy burst out like a volcanic eruption in the spatial zone. It released a frenzied and powerful destructive force, destroying everything in the surroundings. After receiving the impact, cracks appeared on the sturdy martial arts stage. The sturdy spatial restriction even had fragmented cracks that could shatter at any moment. Sword Tao pattern break. Relying on his powerful physical body to withstand the destructive impact that could topple mountains and overturn seas, Yi Chunfeng interweaved 70 sword Tao patterns and tore apart the destructive storm. He closed in on the black-robed old man who had a slight change of expression and was injured. Each sword attack was stronger than the previous one. The black-robed old man's injuries worsened and sent him flying out of the destructive storm. Big sister, Big Brother Feng Chen has turned the tables around. He is going to win. And Big Brother Feng Chen is the strongest. Xing Manyu and her sister witnessed the black-robed old man being sent flying by Yi Chunfeng. They were so excited that they couldn't say anything. Their anxious hearts finally settled down. Beast soul form. After seeing Yi Chunfeng's explosive increase in strength, the severely injured black-robed old man quickly burned his bloodline power and transformed into the strongest beast soul form, wanting to turn the tables around. It is too late to transform now. Looking at the black-robed old man who had transformed into the beast soul form, Yi Chunfeng didn't slow down his attacks and continued attacking. Sword Tao intent and 5 elemental Tao intent were intertwined. 15 million pounds of force was constantly exploding and ruthlessly bombarding the black-robed old man's body. Crack! Following a chilling cracking sound, the black-robed old man's arms were forcefully broken by Yi Chunfeng's continuous attacks. The white bone stubble pierced through the skin and was exposed to the air. Qi and blood combustion, true devil sky strike. With his life hanging by a thread, the black-robed old man went all out. He burned all the chi and blood in his body, and turned into a scarlet-red devil shadow with devil horns and bat blood wings on his back. He launched a fatal attack at Yi Chunfeng. 7 Swords of Judgment, sky-shattering. Yi Chunfeng instantly fused with the ancient pattern heavy sword and turned into the sky-shattering sword. When the sword slashed out, the void cracked. The boundless destructive power shattered the void. It was like a constantly extending spatial crack that welcomed the true devil sky strike. Boom, boom, boom. When the 2 Dao skills clashed, the devil shadow was broken. The explosive destructive power instantly shattered the spatial restriction in the surroundings and shattered the restrictions that were activated continuously. Sword steps. Just as the space above the martial arts arena was in chaos and gray, Yi Chunfeng relied on his powerful physical body to withstand the destructive impact. He used the sword steps and appeared in front of the black-robed old man who was severely injured. He intertwined 80 sword Dao patterns and attacked the old man. Sword steps. How do you know the sword steps? The black-robed old man's pupils contracted as he revealed a look of disbelief. However, before he could finish his sentence, Yi Chunfeng pushed his sword Dao to the extreme and penetrated his body with 80 sword Dao patterns, causing him to lose his combat strength. In the next moment, Yi Chunfeng pressed one hand on the old man's head. He wanted to borrow the power of the God-Eater brain and search his soul. Bang! The power of the God-Eater brain touched the restriction in the black-robed old man's soul sea. His head suddenly exploded. After the star-robed man, the black-robed old man who was a Class 3 combat beast emperor had died. Mobile reading website, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the save button at the bottom to record this reading record. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 847. Let's go back. After killing the black-robed old man, Yi Chunfeng took their belongings. He did his best to appear extremely weak as he flew over to Xing Keru and the others. Big brother Feng Chen, are you alright? Seeing Yi Chunfeng's pale face and the blood flowing from the corner of his mouth, Xing Manyu and her sister immediately went forward to support him as they asked anxiously, "What are you doing?" "I'm fine. The medicinal effect is starting to fade. My body is a bit exhausted. I'll be fine after some rest." Yi Chunfeng shook his head and squeezed out a smile. "Let's go back to the Falling Star Pavilion." Xing Keru was afraid that something unexpected would happen, so she immediately brought Yi Chunfeng back to the Falling Star Pavilion to heal. Activate the formation runes. After the third commander and the others left, Xing Keru immediately ordered people to activate the formation runes, sealing off the entire Falling Star Pavilion to defend against the enemy. "Feng Chen, don't worry about healing. I'll do my best to not let anyone disturb your recovery." Although Xing Keru had learned from the third commander that the star-robed man Yi Chunfeng had killed was not simple and that they would most likely face revenge, in order to repay Yi Chunfeng, Xing Keru and the others didn't leave the Falling Star Pavilion that night. "Vice Pavilion Master, I suggest that you quickly leave Xingluo Heavenly City to avoid any accidents." Yi Chunfeng didn't go to heal himself. Instead, he advised Xing Keru and the others to leave. "Don't worry, Feng Chen. Tomorrow I'll use all my connections to resolve this matter," said Xing Keru. "Vice Pavilion Master, this matter isn't as simple as you think. The 2 people I killed had extraordinary identities. Their deaths might alarm the upper echelons of Xingluo Heavenly City and even the city lord Sha Bingyun," said Yi Chunfeng solemnly. "That can't be." Xing Keru's expression changed slightly. "Feng Chen, just which faction are they from?" "Deputy Pavilion Master, it's not convenient for me to reveal their identities. I can only tell you that if you don't want anything to happen to the Falling Star Pavilion, tonight is the best time to leave. If you miss tonight, I'm afraid you won't be able to leave. At that time, I won't be able to save you." Yi Chunfeng said solemnly. Alright, then let's leave Xingluo Sky City tonight. Looking at Yi Chunfeng's grave expression and recalling the third commander's warning before he left, Xing Keru felt the severity of the situation. In the end, she decided to leave Xingluo Sky City with the experts of the Falling Star Pavilion. Big Brother Fengchen, since Xingluo Sky City is so dangerous, why don't you leave with us? Xing Manyu said softly. I will escort you out of here. When you are safe, I will come back, Yi Chunfeng said. Big Brother Fengchen, if things are really as dangerous as you say, your life might be in danger if you return. Xing Manyu said worriedly. Don't worry, since I dared to come back, I am naturally not afraid of revenge. Yi Chunfeng said confidently. Alright, let's not waste any more time. Quickly prepare to leave. Before dawn, you must leave Xingluo Sky City. Fengchen, here are 35 million points. I will give them all to you. If you have time in the future, you must come to my Falling Star Pavilion so that we can repay your kindness. Xing Keru gave the points she had accumulated over the years to Yi Chunfeng. Many thanks. Yi Chunfeng did not stand on ceremony with Xing Keru and accepted the points. About half an hour later, more than 40 experts of the Falling Star Pavilion left Xingluo Sky City under the escort of Yi Chunfeng. Grand Elder, we have just received news that the people of the Falling Star Pavilion have left Xingluo Sky City. The person who killed Lin Qisher and Elder Ji should have left with them. The people of the Falling Star Pavilion had just left Xingluo Sky City through the teleportation circle when the news reached the ears of Sha Renjia, the Grand Elder of Xingluo Sky City. Ran away? Their reaction is not slow at all. They know that they have stirred up trouble and want to escape. Sha Renjia's eyes flashed with a sharp glint, inform the Blood Demon envoy of their whereabouts, then send out 2 Black Shadow assassins to intercept them. The Black Shadow assassins were the top assassins in Xingluo Sky City, second only to the Dark Shadow assassins. There were a total of 6 of them. Each of them was a level 4 Beast Emperor and specialized in assassination. The 6 of them could threaten the life of a level 5 Beast Emperor. Remember, you must bring back that audacious brat alive. I want to see if he has eaten a bear's heart or a leopard's guts to dare to kill anyone. As for the people of the Falling Star Pavilion, if they resist, kill them all. Sha Renjia's eyes flashed with a cold glint as he sentenced the people of the Falling Star Pavilion to death. Yes, Grand Elder, I will do it right away. The experts of Xingluo Sky City replied. Early in the morning, a red sun slowly rose from the east, waking up the gloomy Black Wind Prairie. Brother Fengchen, we should be safe now, right? Looking at the red sun in the distance, Xing Manyu, who had been escaping for an entire night, slowly approached the edge of the Black Wind Prairie. Beads of sweat appeared on her forehead as she let out a long sigh of relief. No, danger is approaching. Don't rest, let's continue our journey. Yi Chunfeng shook his head and urged loudly. Yi Chunfeng had already seen through the identities of the 2 men in star robes. Since he had killed them in front of everyone, no matter if it was the true demon clan or Xingluo Sky City, they would not let him and the Falling Star Pavilion off. So. Just as Yi Chunfeng and his group continued their journey, 2 ear-piercing sounds suddenly rang out from afar. 2 Black Shadow assassins, like flying swords, cut through the gentle morning light and caught up with them at an extremely fast speed, intercepting them. If you don't want to die, come back with us obediently. Otherwise, we will kill you without mercy. The Black Shadow assassin, who was wearing a black tight-fitting martial arts suit and a ghost mask, looked at Xing Keru and the others expressionlessly and ordered without allowing any resistance. You are the Black Shadow assassins. Xing Keru, who had lived in Xingluo Sky City for close to 100 years, had heard of the Black Shadow assassins and knew how terrifying they were. Looking at the 2 ghost-masked men, Xing Keru immediately guessed their identities and revealed a terrified expression. I will count to 3. Whoever doesn't give up resisting, I will kill him. The Black Shadow assassins looked at Xing Keru and the others coldly and ruthlessly as they spoke. You talk big, but I'm afraid you are not strong enough. Yi Chunfeng, who was in the crowd, had a cold glint in his eyes. He flew out like a bolt of lightning. With a stomp of his foot, a sword array suddenly appeared, and 100 swords shot out simultaneously. The densely packed sword Dao patterns attacked the 2 Black Shadow assassins like a rain of swords, forcing them to retreat. Leave the 2 of them to me. You guys leave this place quickly. After forcing the 2 Black Shadow assassins back with a single step, Yi Chunfeng shouted at Xing Keru and the others. You want to leave? Not so easy. The 2 Black Shadow assassins had fused with their respective spirit beasts, and their strength was rising steadily. They wanted to use their unpredictable assassination techniques to kill Xing Keru and the others and capture Yi Chunfeng alive. Roar. Suddenly, a dragon roar that could pierce through clouds and shatter rocks echoed from Yi Chunfeng's body. In the next moment, an unforgettable scene appeared before Xing Keru and the others. The Blood Dragon Emperor, which was as red as blood, emerged from Yi Chunfeng's body and hovered in the void. It exuded an intimidating dragon's aura and roared at the 2 Black Shadow assassins. What are you guys still standing there for? Leave this place quickly. Yi Chunfeng shouted at Xing Keru and the others, who were dumbstruck. Fengchen, take care. Xing Keru and the others, who had regained their senses, took a deep look at Yi Chunfeng and quickly flew out of the Black Wind grassland. After being intimidated by the Blood Dragon Emperor's dragon's aura, the 2 Black Shadow assassins felt like they would be torn apart at any moment. They stared at Yi Chunfeng and didn't dare to act rashly. Mobile reading website, book address. In order to facilitate your next reading, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this reading record. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 848. Shadowless Escape Kill. The moment Yi Chunfeng fused with the Blood Dragon Emperor, the eyes of the 2 assassins burst out with thick killing intent. They moved at the same time with great tacit understanding. They entered the attack trajectory and launched a sure-kill attack at Yi Chunfeng. The 2 of them had perfectly grasped the opportunity for this attack. Ordinary people would most likely be interrupted from fusing with their spiritual beast. However, Yi Chunfeng's soul spirit was too powerful. When the 2 of them executed the shadowless escape kill, Yi Chunfeng's soul spirit had already captured it. He took a step forward and unleashed 100 swords. Streaks of extremely sharp sword Dao patterns attacked the 2 of them and slowed down their attack speed. In the next moment, Yi Chunfeng's dragon bloodline burned and instantly increased his soul power by 7 times. He punched out, and the violent power caused endless turbulence to appear in the void. He forcibly shattered the shadowless escape kill executed by the 2 of them. Feeling the power of Yi Chunfeng's punch, the 2 assassins' faces changed slightly. They discovered that the information they had was wrong. Yi Chunfeng was far more terrifying than they had imagined. However, the 2 of them, who had been dancing on the edge of life and death all year round, didn't retreat. They decisively burned their bloodline power and transformed into their strongest beast soul form. Large patches of black scales covered their entire bodies, and sharp thorns emerged from their bodies. After transforming into their beast soul form, the 2 of them became even more terrifying. Their entire bodies were weapons that could launch fatal attacks. Swish! Swish! 2 ear-piercing sounds echoed. The 2 assassins once again fused into the attack trajectory. They moved faster than the speed of light and stabbed towards Yi Chunfeng one after another. When they approached Yi Chunfeng, 2 bamboo-like pseudo-Dao artifact black swords appeared in their hands. One sword stabbed towards Yi Chunfeng's head while the other stabbed towards his chest. Great Sun Heavenly Fire Fist. Yi Qinfeng's gaze was like a bolt of lightning as it locked onto the two black-colored sword lights that pierced towards him, and then the energy of his 5 apertures completely erupted as the 5-element Tao insight and sky-black flame fused into his right fist, causing a fist light that was like a red sun to illuminate the space as it forcefully shattered the sword lights that pierced towards his chest. Then, Yi Qinfeng opened his mouth, and the vermilion bird cauldron flew out. It released endless flames, and blocked the second assassination sword, neutralizing the attacks of the two of them. Grand Hand of Tao Intent. After breaking through their attacks, the Tao wills of the 5 Taos, the Tao wills of life and death, and the Tao wills of heaven and earth gushed out from Yi Qinfeng's body. They fused together and transformed into a giant hand that blotted out the sky. It carried an incomparable pressure as it pressed down on the two of them. Shadow speed. The two black shadow assassins didn't face the giant hand of Tao Intent head-on. Their entire bodies became blurry like two drifting shadows. They dodged the attack of the hand of Tao Intent and continued to attack Yi Qinfeng. Emperor Sky Sword. Yi Qinfeng didn't want to be entangled with them for too long. With a thought, the mid-grade Tao artifact, Emperor Sky Sword, appeared in his hand. The 8th tier of the sword Tao was fully unleashed, and like a long dragon, it shattered the attacks of the two. After their attacks were broken, the two black shadow assassins weren't discouraged. They pushed their speed to the extreme and were like two drifting shadows. They flashed and leaped, attacking Yi Qinfeng from all angles. For a moment, Yi Qinfeng's body was surrounded by crisscrossing sword shadows. Sword shadows that were like venomous snakes constantly attacked Yi Qinfeng. Shatter! Yi Qinfeng let out a cold yell as 15 million pounds of force and 4 major offensive Tao intents were fully unleashed. He activated the Emperor Sky artifact's spirit and slashed down ferociously, directly shattering the shadowless sword lights in front of him. Immediately after, he rapidly stepped out with his sword steps and appeared in front of one of the black shadow assassins as if he had teleported. The sword array intertwined with sword Tao patterns rapidly attacked and sealed off all the escape routes of the black shadow assassin, making it impossible for him to evade. Yi Qinfeng's iron fist arrived like the wind and smashed towards the black shadow assassin's chest. The terrifying strength caused the black shadow assassin's expression to change drastically. He quickly blocked the black sword in front of his chest and defended with all his might. Unfortunately, Yi Qinfeng's fist was too powerful. The black sword that the black shadow assassin used to block in front of him couldn't block this shocking fist attack of Yi Qinfeng's. The fist that was filled with 15 million pounds of force, 7-fold soul power, and Tao intents smashed into the black shadow assassin's chest, shattering the sharp thorns. The black shadow assassin's chest caved in, and his body was like a kite with a broken string. He was thrown dozens of meters away and fell to the ground with blood spurting out from his mouth. The moment Yi Qinfeng heavily injured the black shadow assassin, the other black shadow assassin seized the opportunity and blended into the attack trajectory. He thrust his sword towards Yi Qinfeng's head, wanting to pierce through his head and end his life. Wrath of God's punishment. How powerful was Yi Qinfeng's soul spirit? Every move of the two black shadow assassins was locked onto by his soul spirit. The wrath of God's punishment that was compressed to the extreme shot out and struck the black shadow assassin's swift strike. Immediately, boundless energy leaked out and engulfed the black shadow assassin who couldn't dodge in time. When he relied on his absolute attack to tear apart the wrath of God's punishment, Yi Qinfeng executed the Sword of Annihilation. The terrifying sword intent caused the space in front of the black shadow assassin to shatter and shatter his continuous attack. PFFF. After being struck by the Sword of Annihilation, the black shadow assassin felt as if he was struck by lightning. His body suddenly trembled, and a large amount of blood spurted out from his mouth as he fell to the other side. Both of them were heavily injured, but the two black shadow assassins didn't retreat. They didn't hesitate to burn their chi and blood to suppress the injuries on their bodies. They continued to attack Yi Chenfeng. Vermilion Bird Cauldron, suppress. The two black shadow assassins stabbed out one after the other. Yi Chenfeng awakened the soul of the Vermilion Bird and controlled the Vermilion Bird Cauldron to release a powerful suppressive force. It suppressed the void and forcefully slowed down the attack speed of the two black shadow assassins. Just as Yi Chenfeng was about to execute a thunderous attack to severely injure the two black shadow assassins and end the battle, the two black shadow assassins used their true trump card. Two black needles shot out from their mouths and pierced towards Yi Chenfeng's head. Heavenly Tao pattern, break. At this critical moment, Yi Chenfeng didn't panic. The extremely powerful Heavenly Tao pattern flew out and struck the two black needles, causing them to explode. After the black needles were destroyed, a powerful soul suppressive force was emitted from the black needles. It was like a surging tide as it bombarded Yi Chenfeng's head. It caused his soul spirit to tremble, and his reaction speed was slightly delayed. Seizing this fleeting opportunity, the two black shadow assassins launched a sure-kill attack at Yi Chenfeng. The incomparably sharp assassination swords pierced towards Yi Chenfeng's head, wanting to kill him. Golden Body Art. After Yi Chenfeng regained his senses, he decisively executed the Golden Body Art. A large amount of defensive golden light covered his entire body, instantly increasing his defense by 50% and blocking the two assassination swords. Tisk tisk. The dazzling golden defensive golden light was pierced through by the two black shadow assassins' sure-kill attack. The two swords pierced towards Yi Chenfeng's head like a hot knife through butter. However, after executing the Golden Body Art, Yi Chenfeng's defense was close to a mid-grade Dao artifact. When the sharp black swords pierced Yi Chenfeng's head, it felt like they were piercing on black iron and couldn't pierce through it at all. After the assassination failed, the two black shadow assassins sensed a dense, dangerous aura and instinctively wanted to dodge. However, Yi Chenfeng's attack speed was faster. The four fused Dao intents turned into a square cauldron, intertwined with Dao patterns, and pressed down ferociously. It ruthlessly bombarded their bodies, causing them to fall to the ground and aggravating their injuries. Just as Yi Chenfeng was heavily injuring the two black shadow assassins, his powerful soul spirit sensed a familiar aura approaching. The corner of his mouth curled up slightly and revealed a cold smile. Mobile reading site, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the bookmark button at the bottom to record this reading record. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 849. Sky Demon Devil Ropes Bind. Yi Chenfeng had the intention of controlling Xingluo Sky City. Hence, he did not kill the two assassins. Instead, he formed two sky demon devil ropes and bound their bodies. Then, he controlled the Suzaku Cauldron to suppress them. Just as Yi Chenfeng suppressed the two black shadow assassins, a man wearing a blood-red robe and transforming into countless blood shadows rushed towards him at an extremely fast speed. This blood-red robed man was none other than the Grade 5 Combat Beast Emperor, the Blood Demon Envoy, who had fought with Yi Chenfeng at the Jasper Palace and almost died there. I never thought that even the two assassins of Xingluo Sky City would die in your hand. You have really impressed me. The Blood Demon Envoy looked at the two assassins suppressed by the Suzaku Cauldron with a surprised expression and said coldly, I didn't think that the true demon clan would send you to kill us. Should I feel honored? Yi Chenfeng looked at the Blood Demon Envoy with a sharp gaze. He was neither happy nor sad. As soon as Yi Chenfeng finished speaking, the Blood Demon Envoy's eyes shot out a murderous intent. He looked at Yi Chenfeng with a terrifying gaze. He never thought that Yi Chenfeng would know his identity. Blood Demon Envoy, are you surprised that I know your identity? Looking at the Blood Demon Envoy's increasingly ferocious face, Yi Chenfeng smiled faintly and asked, You are really surprising me more and more. Looks like I have to capture you today. the Blood Demon Envoy said with a murderous intent. Haha, Blood Demon Envoy, could it be that you still haven't recognized who I am? Yi Chunfeng laughed loudly as he controlled the illusory Tao intent to restore his true appearance. Why are you here? Looking at Yi Chunfeng's familiar face, the Blood Demon Envoy's eyes widened in surprise. He had never thought that he would meet Yi Chunfeng here. What was even more unexpected was that Yi Chunfeng would be so bold as to not only sneak into Xingluo Sky City, but also dare to stir up trouble. While he was still in shock, Yi Chunfeng used his sword steps and tore through the air, suddenly launching an attack at him. Because the Blood Demon Envoy was greatly shaken, his reaction was slightly delayed. As a result, Yi Chunfeng immediately suppressed his attacks with his sword steps. Blood Demon Sword Break. After Blood Demon Envoy regained his senses, he quickly took out his low-grade Tao artifact, Blood Demon Sword. He quickly slashed and tore apart the Sword Tao pattern's attack. Xian Ming Extreme Tao. When the emissary of Blood Demon's sword steps were broken through by his absolute attack, countless will of the Great Path gushed out of Yi Chunfeng's body, transforming into a long river of Xian-Ji power that bombarded the emissary of Blood Demon, colliding with the emissary of Blood Demon's sword. Boom, boom, boom. Several wills of the Great Path exploded. The terrifying power was like a surging tide, bombarding his body and forcibly pushing him back dozens of meters. 7 Swords of Judgment. Emperor Heavenly Sword Art. Yi Chunfeng did not give him any chance to take a breather. He unleashed the power of the Sword Tao to the extreme and repeatedly used powerful Tao techniques to attack, suppressing the emissary of Blood Demon's attack. The resplendent and glaring radiance was like the sun illuminating the heavens and earth. The strength of the sword radiance made the morning sky even brighter. Dozens of sword scars traversed the void and continuously slashed at the emissary of Blood Demon's body. Bloodline Ignition, Beast Soul Form. His attacks were constantly being suppressed. The emissary of Blood Demon, who was at an absolute disadvantage, did not hesitate to ignite his bloodline power and transform into a powerful beast soul form. He wanted to turn the situation around. Blood conquering the world. 80 streaks of blood Tao patterns gushed out of his body. The emissary of Blood Tao intent was unleashed to the extreme and used his strongest Tao technique. He tore apart the 7 Swords of Judgment and the Emperor Heavenly Sword Art, shaking off Yi Chunfeng's attack. Dragon Heart Fusion, True Dragon Transformation. Streaks of bloody shadows tore apart the 7 Swords of Judgment and attacked. Yi Chunfeng transformed into his beast soul form and fused with the power of the Dragon Heart. He activated the strongest dragon bloodline and instantly transformed into a true dragon that roamed the universe. He was fused with numerous Tao intents and shattered the blood conquering the world from the emissary of blood conquering the world. He then blasted towards the emissary of blood conquering the world, whose expression changed greatly. Boom! The true dragon that Yi Chunfeng transformed into clashed with the blood saber that the emissary of Blood Demon had slashed down. There was a piercing sound that was deafening. The powerful collision force spread out in the air and caused the space within a 1-mile radius to distort. Long dragon-like cracks continued to extend across the black wind grassland. Relying on his strong defense to withstand the impact of the collision, Yi Chunfeng roared towards the sky and tore apart the destructive force that was rushing towards him. He was like an invincible god of war. His hair danced in the wind as he sped through the terrifying energy. He then approached the emissary of Blood Conqueror, who was spitting out blood and was severely injured. 8 killing halos condensed and 15 million pounds of force exploded. Yi Chunfeng held the Emperor Heavenly Sword in one hand and the 150,000-pound Ancient Pattern Heavy Sword in the other. He swung them rapidly and slashed at the severely injured emissary of Blood Conqueror. Bang! 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 As the swords came crashing down, the emissary of Blood Conqueror felt as though he was being smashed by mountains. The blood in his body was rumbling as he was forced to retreat. Blood was spurting out from his mouth. With the emissary of Blood Conqueror's strength, he shouldn't have been suppressed so thoroughly by Yi Qinfeng. However, Yi Qinfeng's physical body was too heaven-defying, and the three fused Tao intents were extremely powerful. They were constantly restraining him and putting him in danger. Blood Skull Doppelganger. As his injuries worsened, the emissary of Blood Skull summoned his greatest trump card, a blood-red skull doppelganger. On the skull of this Blood Skull Doppelganger, there was a pseudo-Tao treasure, the Crescent Moon Stone, that was providing him with boundless energy support. Kill! The emissary of Blood Conqueror, who was covered in blood, roared and gave the Blood Skull Doppelganger a sure kill order. He ordered him to attack Yi Qinfeng with all his might. Sword Puppet! Before the blood-red light and the murderous Blood Skull Doppelganger could get close, the sword puppet suddenly appeared. It held two low-grade Tao swords and slashed out two crescent-shaped sword arcs. The swords slashed at the Blood Skull Doppelganger and forced him to retreat. He couldn't get close to Yi Qinfeng. Emissary of Blood Conqueror, if you don't have any other means, you can go to hell now. As he spoke, several Tao intents in Yi Qinfeng's body went berserk. They fused together with the surging soul power and the power of slaughter. They evolved into a heavenly seal that was intertwined with Tao intents and suppressed the emissary of Blood Conqueror. Blood conquering the world. The emissary of Blood Conqueror took a deep breath and used his killer move to counter the attack. He relied on his absolute strength to tear apart the Tao pattern heavenly seal. Swish! An ear-piercing sound pierced through the air. Yi Qinfeng suddenly thrust out his sword and pierced it towards the emissary of Blood Conqueror's chest. Although this strike seemed ordinary, it was Yi Qinfeng's real killer move. After several attempts, Yi Qinfeng finally fused the sword soul into the Ascendant Sky Sword. TSK. The emissary of Blood Conqueror couldn't dodge in time and was struck by the Ascendant Sky Sword. The astonishing sword soul broke through his body's defense and penetrated his chest. Ah! The emissary of Blood Conqueror let out a heart-wrenching scream. All the meridians in his body were shattered by the terrifying sword soul. He fell heavily to the ground. Just as he was about to endure the heavy injuries on his body and escape, his vision turned dark as a large foot stepped on his face. The powerful force directly stomped his head into the ground. A large amount of blood flowed out from his 7 orifices, and he almost fainted. Chaos Divine Wood suppress. With a thought, Yi Qinfeng summoned the Chaos Divine Wood and suppressed the emissary of Blood Conqueror. Following which, Yi Qinfeng used the power of the God-Eater Brain to forcefully search the emissary of Blood Conqueror's soul to obtain his precious soul memories. Bam! When the power of the God-Eater Brain seeped into the emissary of Blood Conqueror's soul sea, his head suddenly exploded. Sigh, everyone from the true demon's race has a restriction in their soul sea. Yi Qinfeng sighed softly and kept the emissary of Blood Conqueror's belongings. He released the black flames and burned his corpse to ashes. Following which, Yi Qinfeng kept the 2 immobilized assassins suppressed by the Suzaku Cauldron into the Qiankuan realm to suppress them. Mobile reading website, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record your reading history. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blogs, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 850. Xingluo Heavenly City, in an Ancient Palace. What? The Blood Demon Envoy and the 2 assassins disappeared? Sha Renjie, who was sitting cross-legged in a dark corner and cultivating with his eyes closed, suddenly had his communication bead vibrate. When he heard the message from the communication bead, he immediately opened his eyes and revealed a shocked expression. We found traces of an intense battle at the edge of the Black Wind Prairie. It seems that there were 2 assassins and the Blood Demon Envoy. We can't contact the 2 assassins, and the True Demon Tribe can't contact the Blood Demon Envoy either. We guess that something happened to them. The expert in Xingluo Heavenly City sent a message. Something happened. Falling Star Pavilion has such strength? Or is there an expert helping them in the dark? Xiaorenjia's brows were tightly knitted together as he felt the severity of the situation. After pondering for a while, Xiaorenjia hurriedly left the secret cultivation room and found City Lord Xia Bingyun. He told her what had just happened. Xia Bingyun was shocked when she found out that Blood Demon Emissary and the other 2 assassins were missing. She immediately sent out a king of assassins and 4 assassins to the Blackwind grassland to search for Blood Demon Emissary and the other 2 assassins. Just as Xingluo Heavenly City became jittery and heavily guarded, Yi Chunfeng, who had killed the Blood Demon Envoy and suppressed the 2 assassins, controlled the illusion Dao intent to change his appearance. He secretly returned to Xingluo Heavenly City and arrived at the Triple Lightning Dominion. The Peach Blossom House was located in an extremely beautiful peach blossom garden in the Triple Lightning Dominion. The scenery was picturesque, and it was spring all year round. It was a cultivation place that the experts of the Triple Lightning Dominion liked to rent. Yi Chunfeng rented a secluded room in the Peach Blossom House. He activated the restriction and took out everything he had obtained in the past 2 days. Low-grade Dao Artifact Blood Demon Sword, Pseudo-Dao Artifact Blood Skull Doppelganger, Pseudo-Dao Artifact Ancient Rune Heavy Sword, Death Scythe, 11 Pseudo-Dao Cores, and more than 80,000 Supreme-Grade Soul Crystals. This is Heavenly Soul Water, the Heavenly Soul Water used to refine the Ultimate Emperor Dao Pill. At the end of the inspection, Yi Chunfeng found 2 jade bottles among the Blood Demon Envoy's belongings. One of the bottles contained one of the main ingredients for refining the Extreme Emperor Dao Pill, Heavenly Soul Water. The other bottle contained a milky white spirit liquid that contained powerful spirituality. Heavenly Reversal Water. This is Heavenly Reversal Water. Yi Chunfeng controlled the God-engulfing brain to analyze the white liquid and discovered that it contained the Heavenly Fate Water, which had the same effect as the Heavenly Fate Water. After drinking it, one could instantly recover expended soul power and was extremely precious. In addition to these treasures, Yi Chunfeng had also obtained 18 million points from the others. In addition to the points that Xing Keru had given him and the points that he had earned himself, Yi Chunfeng now possessed 67 million points. This was enough for him to enter the illusory star field. However, Yi Chunfeng was not in a hurry to enter the star field because he was only a bronze star cultivator. Even if he entered the star field, he would not be able to enjoy the unique cultivation resources of the star field. He was preparing to achieve 100 victories in the Triple Thunder Dominion and become a diamond star cultivator. Then, he would enter the star field and challenge the Thunder Tribulation. He would temper himself and break through to the 3rd-grade Beast Emperor realm. After resting for a night, Yi Chunfeng left the Peach Blossom House early in the morning and arrived at the White Cloud Shop located in the northwest of the Triple Thunder Dominion. It was located in the depths of a garden and was built in an ancient style. It was very noisy and had a long history. This shop was a secret place that the Bai clan had spent countless years building in the Triple Thunder Dominion. Only a few people in the Bai clan knew about it. "Young master, may I know what you want to buy?" Yi Chunfeng had just walked into the shop when a sweet-looking woman wearing a silk dress and light makeup walked over. She had a faint smile on her face as she asked softly, "What are you doing?" "I want to see your shopkeeper to discuss a business deal." Yi Chunfeng replied with a smile and said softly, "Young master, please come with me. I will take you to see our shopkeeper." After saying that, the sweet-looking woman gently swayed her sexy waist and led Yi Chunfeng to the back hall. After a while, a white-robed old man with white hair and a ruddy complexion came to the back hall. He looked deeply at Yi Chunfeng, who was drinking tea, and said slowly, "I heard that you want to do business with me?" "Yes, I want to sell 30 stalks of white jade grass. Do you want them?" Yi Chunfeng put down the teacup in his hand and asked with a smile. "White jade grass? The white-robed old man's eyes lit up and he asked in a low voice, "How much are you going to sell them for?" 60,000 upper-grade soul crystals. Yi Chenfeng said. Well, we will take these 30 stalks of white jade grass. Please come with me. After saying that, the white-robed old man led Yi Chenfeng to a secret room shrouded in restriction. Young master, can you let me take a look at those 30 stalks of white jade grass? I want to appraise their quality. The white-robed old man asked. Sure. Yi Chenfeng nodded and took out a token with a white maple leaf engraved on it, as well as a letter, and handed it to the white-robed old man. After quickly skimming through the letter written by Feng, the white-robed old man was completely sure of Yi Chenfeng's identity. The vigilance on his face disappeared and he said softly, Young Master Yi, the ancestor gave me a secret letter, telling me to cooperate fully with young master. Does young master have anything to do for young master? I need a new identity, Yi Chenfeng said. After the battle with the star-robed man and the black-robed old man, Yi Chenfeng guessed that Feng Chen's identity had been exposed. Once he appeared, it would immediately attract the attention of Xingluo Heaven City's experts. Therefore, he needed a new identity. This is not a problem. However, Gold Star Cultivator and Diamond Star Cultivator are too eye-catching and can easily cause unnecessary trouble. I will give young Master Yi a Silver Star Cultivator identity. The white-robed old man pondered and said, Okay. Yi Chenfeng nodded and agreed. Alright, old Bai, I also want to know everything about the Star Emperor. I also want to inquire about a few spirit items. Can you see if the Xingluo Heaven City has them? Yi Chenfeng felt that the death of the Star Emperor involved a lot of things. He wanted to know more about it. He also mentioned the main ingredients for refining the Extreme Emperor Pill and True Spirit Quenching Body Pill. Young Master Yi, I do have some information about the Star Emperor. The spirit items you mentioned, the ancestor also told me to pay attention to some of them. However, those things are too rare. Recently, I only heard about the blood dragon ginseng. The white-robed old man said. Old Bai, where can I trade for the blood dragon ginseng? Yi Chenfeng's eyes lit up and asked. The blood dragon ginseng was the most important and most crucial ingredient for refining the Extreme Emperor Pill. Its quality and age were directly related to the grade of the pill. Not long ago, the experts of the Xingluo Heaven City found an ancient medicine garden in an ancient ruin. Inside, there were many spirit herbs that grew for hundreds of thousands of years. The blood dragon ginseng that young master needs has been seen in the ancient medicine garden. However, that ancient medicine garden is full of dangers and has many hidden forbiddances. The Xingluo Heaven City sent many experts and paid a great price to break a small part of the forbiddance and pick an extremely small number of ancient spirit herbs. In order to reduce casualties, that woman Sha Bingyun deliberately used the ancient medicine garden as a top-level mission in the Triple Thunder territory. Experts with Silver Star cultivators and above can accept this mission. No matter who it is, as long as they can pick an ancient spirit herb from the ancient ruins, they can exchange it for a large amount of points. The white-robed old man said. Isn't Sha Bingyun afraid that the ancient spirit herbs will be picked by someone and leave the Xingluo Heaven City empty-handed? Yi Chenfeng asked in astonishment. That woman Sha Bingyun cannot be underestimated. She has already sent experts from the Xingluo Heaven City to lie in ambush near the ancient medicine garden. If someone really picks an ancient spirit herb from the ancient medicine garden, they won't be able to bring it out alive. So that's how it is. Although the ancient medicine garden was full of danger, Yi Chenfeng still decided to make a trip and try to pick the blood dragon ginseng. If the ancient medicine garden really had the blood dragon ginseng, then the extremely slow-growing blood dragon ginseng would definitely have matured. Using it to refine medicine would have a great chance of refining the best quality Extreme Emperor Pill. About 2 hours later, Yi Chenfeng took the Star Emperor's information jade strip and his new identity token and left the White Cloud store. He directly went to the 1,000-layer building to accept the mission of picking the ancient spirit herbs in the ancient medicine garden. Mobile reading site, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record your reading record. Next time you open the bookshelf, you will see it. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 851. So many geniuses. When they arrived at the 1,000-story pagoda, which was built like an ancient temple, Yi Chunfeng discovered that many geniuses had come to the 1,000-story pagoda to accept missions. There was no lack of high-level absolute kings. Among them, there was a tall and sturdy man wearing a black robe with gold embroidery. His jet-black hair casually draped over his shoulders. His eyes were brimming with spirit, and his body emitted an intense sword intent. He was a Grade 2 combat beast emperor and was the most eye-catching. Sensing the sword intent emitted by this black-clothed man, Yi Chunfeng couldn't help but take a few more glances at him. Overlord Sword, ranked 8th among the top 10 experts of the star field. Why would he come to the 1,000-story pagoda to accept a mission? What's the big deal? A few days ago, Hua Luoyu, ranked 7th among the top 10 experts of the star field, came to the 1,000-story pagoda to accept a mission. If I'm not wrong, this Overlord Sword and Hua Luoyu have the same goal. They are both here for the ancient medicinal garden mission. Looking at the mighty black-clothed man with overflowing sword aura, many people recognized his identity and whispered to each other. Star Field's top 10 experts. After learning the black-clothed man's identity, Yi Chunfeng's eyes flashed with a bright light. He muttered to himself, I didn't expect the star field to have such a ranking. I wonder how strong the leader of the top 10 experts is. I want to accept the ancient medicinal garden mission. Yi Chunfeng slowly walked in front of a white-haired old man and handed over the mission and identity medallion that he had taken off. The ancient medicinal garden mission is very dangerous. Are you sure you want to accept this mission? The white-haired old man looked up at the unfamiliar face of Yi Chunfeng, who seemed to be a Grade 6 reverse beast king, and asked slowly. And the Overlord Sword who had just accepted this mission could not help but glance at Yi Chunfeng. However, sensing Yi Chunfeng's realm strength as well as the silver metal star cultivator token in his hand, he immediately lost interest in him, turning around and leaving. I have already decided to accept this mission. Yi Chunfeng nodded and said, You need to pay 1,000 mission points. If you can pick the ancient spiritual herbs from the ancient medicinal garden and successfully bring them back, we can buy them for 10 million points per stock. The white-haired old man said. All right. Yi Chunfeng happily paid 1,000 points and obtained the map to the ancient ruins from the white-haired old man, as well as to enter the ancient medicinal garden from the ancient ruins. After leaving the 1,000-layer pagoda, Yi Chunfeng did not immediately rush to the ancient ruins in the depths of the Xingluo continent's barren swamp. Instead, he went to the 10,000 treasure pagoda and spent 5 million points to exchange for a supreme grade formation core stone and 500 good quality array flags. He spent another 2 million points to exchange for 4 drops of level 8 Heavenly Beast Blood Essence for the spatial swallowing bug, in order to speed up its evolution. Once the space swallower bug evolved into a level 8 Heavenly Beast, it would be of great help to Yi Chunfeng, and whether or not he would be able to successfully pluck the blood dragon ginseng in the ancient medicinal garden would depend on the space swallower bugs. After Yi Chunfeng and Overlord Sword accepted the mission, they went to the ancient ruins that had just been discovered. Several talented disciples with extraordinary strength accepted the mission and went to the ancient ruins. Yi Chunfeng, who was flying at an extremely fast speed, flew continuously for 4 days and 4 nights, and finally flew to the desolate barren swamp that was filled with a strong death chi. The ancient ruins and the ancient medicinal garden that had just been discovered were hidden in the deepest part of the barren swamp. After flying into the desolate swamp, which was full of dangers and ancient restrictions, Yi Chunfeng immediately released his powerful soul, which covered a radius of several miles, to sense the slightest movement in the wind. After flying for a short while, Yi Chunfeng's powerful soul sensed danger. One by one, the demonic beasts hidden in the muddy swamp popped out their heads and spat out dense poisonous needles, shooting towards Yi Chunfeng. Black flame, heavenly fire, melt. Being attacked by the poisonous needles, Yi Chunfeng immediately controlled the black flame, heavenly fire to gush out of his body, covering his entire body and melting the dense poisonous needles. Passing through the layers of barriers, he went deep into the barren swamp. As Yi Chunfeng went deeper into the barren swamp and slowly approached the ancient ruins, his powerful soul sensed a violent surge of soul power not far in front of him. As he slowly approached, he saw a woman wearing a tight black martial arts suit. She had a hot body and was as cold as frost. She was holding a pair of sharp scimitars and was fighting against 2 level 8 heavenly beasts, green poisonous centipedes. They had 10,000 feet, sharp sickle-like teeth, and were completely dark green in color. They were extremely poisonous. Although the 2 green poisonous centipedes were the kings of the barren swamp, and their demonic chi soared to the sky and their attacks were ferocious, the hot woman's strength was even more terrifying. Boundless murderous aura surged out of her body like a tidal wave. She waved the 2 scimitars in her hands to the extreme, intertwining with each other to form an airtight saber shadow. She was constantly killing the 2 green poisonous centipedes' attacks and the poison they spat out. Taoist treasure, White Lotus. Relying on her absolute combat strength, the hot woman broke through the attacks of the 2 green poisonous centipede. Suddenly, she opened her rosy little mouth and spat out a slowly blooming white lotus. Its petals were as sharp as blades. The white lotus spun slowly and attacked a green poisonous centipede that was close to her. Chi chi chi. Under the frenzied attack of the fully bloomed white lotus, the green poison centipede's hard carapace was directly shattered. It was incomparably sharp, and the rapidly spinning white lotus directly broke into the green poison centipede's body, frantically strangling its flesh. The immense pain made the green poisonous centipede roll up and down in the muddy swamp. It was constantly controlling its demonic core to attack the white lotus, trying to force it out of its body. However, the white lotus was a Taoist treasure. It was extremely powerful. Under the frenzied attack of the white lotus, the green poisonous centipede's demonic core was constantly broken and it was on the verge of death. After heavily injuring a green poisonous centipede with the help of the Taoist treasure White Lotus, the hot woman decisively turned around and threw out the 2 full moon scimitars in her hands. The glaring light of the scimitars illuminated the heavens and the earth, covering all the light. The 2 full moon scimitars were like stars as they ruthlessly hacked at the green poisonous centipede's head. A deep cut was left on its hard head. A large amount of blood and viscous venom flowed out. What a powerful strength! Yi Chunfeng's eyes lit up when he saw the hot woman displaying her invincible might and severely injuring 2 level 8 heavenly beasts from afar. A level 2 combat beast emperor killing 2 level 8 heavenly beasts. Could she be one of the top 10 experts in the star field, Hualoyu? Looking at the hot woman who was getting braver and braver as she fought, Yi Chunfeng vaguely guessed her identity. This Xingluo Sky City is indeed a warrior's paradise. It is blessed with exceptional cultivation resources. If such a monstrous genius was placed in the eastern continent, she would definitely be the top. However, she is only ranked 7th in the star field. Yi Chunfeng muttered to himself. Whoosh! After a short pause, the golden rock's wings flapped violently. Yi Chunfeng pierced through the layers of clouds and continued to fly towards the depths of the desolate swamp. When Yi Chunfeng flew away, the hot woman who killed one of the green poisonous centipedes looked at him from afar. Seeing that Yi Chunfeng's strength was not high, she did not pay much attention to him. She summoned the white lotus back and used all her strength to kill the other green poisonous centipede. As he got closer to the ancient ruins, Yi Chunfeng encountered many experts from Xingluo Sky City who were on a mission in the desolate swamp. One of them was Ba Jian, who had an astonishing attack power. Witnessing the scene of Ba Jian destroying a level 8 heavenly beast, Yi Chunfeng could not help but be shocked by his attack power. When it was close to evening, Yi Chunfeng flew to the edge of the ancient ruins that was covered by a powerful seal. He noticed that many of Xingluo Sky City's genius disciples had stopped outside and did not go in. He did not enter blindly. Instead, he sat cross-legged outside the ancient ruins and controlled the power of the God-Eater brain to radiate inside. He was trying to deduce the situation and find the best time to enter. Mobile reading site, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record your reading record. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 852. Swish. 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 Yi Chunfeng cleared his mind of all distracting thoughts and controlled the God-Eater brain to deduce the situation in the ancient ruins. Suddenly, a series of ear-piercing sounds pierced through the air. The hot woman who had killed the 2 green poison centipedes and Overlord sword, who had killed the black tortoise with a single slash, tore through the dark space and arrived one after another. Everyone must be the geniuses of Xingluo Sky City. I wonder if anyone is interested in forming a team with me and Luoyu to enter the ancient ruins tomorrow morning to pick the ancient spiritual herbs in the ancient herb garden. The stalwart Ba Jianshu floated in the air. He looked at the various genius disciples who were resting with their eyes closed under the dusk and suggested in a deep voice, "Overlord Sword, Hua Luoyu." Many people opened their eyes when they heard Overlord Sword's voice. Some even recognized him and Hua Luoyu and were surprised. I think everyone is clear about the dangers of the ancient ruins. Many people have lost their lives in there. It is even more difficult to pick the ancient spiritual herbs in the ancient herb garden. Therefore, forming a team is the only way to have a chance of picking the ancient spiritual herbs, Overlord Sword continued. The idea is not bad, but if we pick the ancient spiritual herbs, how will we split them? A genius disciple wearing a loose black robe and a silver mask asked in a hoarse voice. That's simple. One ancient spiritual herb can be exchanged for 10 million points. As long as we work together to pick the ancient spiritual herbs and return to Xingluo Sky City, we will split the points equally. How about it? Overlord Sword said in a seemingly fair manner. What if I don't want the points? The silver-masked genius continued. It's fine if you don't want the points. I can exchange them with treasures of similar value, Overlord Sword said slowly as he looked at him with a sharp gaze. I'm in. I'm in too. Hearing Overlord Sword's promise, many people were tempted and chose to join. This Overlord Sword is indeed scheming. Even though Overlord Sword's suggestion seemed to be fair, if one carefully analyzed it, one would be able to sense his true goal. Even though he and Hua Luoyu were very strong, it was not easy to pluck the ancient spirit herbs within the layers of restrictions. Thus, they needed to find some cannon fodder to help them share the danger. Once they picked the precious ancient spiritual herbs, Yi Chunfeng guessed that Overlord Sword and Hua Luoyu would not show any mercy and would most likely kill everyone. However, Overlord Sword and Hua Luoyu did not know that although their scheme was good, they were just mantises. The real Oriole was hiding in the dark, watching them. Alright, since everyone has agreed, we will enter the ancient ruins tomorrow morning. Seeing that no one had any objections, Overlord Sword revealed a satisfied smile. However, I'll make things clear first. In the ancient ruins, if anyone dares to drag us down or harbor ill intentions, don't blame me for being ruthless and taking their lives. The night was getting deeper and deeper, and from time to time, the sound of beastly roars that made one's hair stand on end could be heard. As expected, there are experts from Xingluo Heaven City hiding in the surroundings. Yi Chunfeng, who was sitting cross-legged on the ground like a statue, controlled the God-Eater brain to scan the area. He sensed the experts from Xingluo Heaven City hiding in the dark. I didn't expect him to come. Among the 10 or so experts from Xingluo Heaven City, he also sensed a familiar aura. This aura belonged to the King of Assassins who had tried to assassinate Yi Chunfeng in the Jasper Palace. To have a King of Assassins guard this place, it seems like Sha Bingyan values this ancient medicinal garden a lot. Yi Chunfeng thought to himself. Besides the assassins sent by Xingluo Heaven City that caught Yi Chunfeng's attention, the genius disciple wearing a silver mask also caught Yi Chunfeng's attention. Although the soul mantra he cultivated was very special and concealed his true cultivation level very well, Yi Chunfeng still felt that he was not ordinary with the God-Eater brain. His strength was not any weaker than Hua Luoyu and Tyrant Jian. The night quickly passed. When the first rays of the morning sun shone over the land, the fog that enveloped the ancient ruins slowly dissipated. With Hua Luoyu and Overlord Sword in the lead, the 17 people entered the ancient ruins, which was fraught with danger and danger. As everyone had a map of the ancient ruins in their hands, they did not encounter any danger. The heavenly beasts that came out of the ruins were also killed by Overlord Sword's powerful attack. Soon, everyone entered the depths of the ancient ruins. At this time, the restrictive force in the air became stronger and stronger, suppressing everyone's strength. The soul power in their body flowed slower and slower, and their breathing became heavier. Sha sha sha. Suddenly, an ear-piercing sound of friction entered everyone's ears. Through the slowly drifting clouds, everyone saw a large black shadow not far in front of them. It was like a surging tide, approaching them at an extremely fast speed. Black armored ant swarm. Looking at the black shadow in front of them, everyone immediately recognized that it was the black armored ant swarm that was unique to the ancient ruins. Ordinary beast emperors would not be able to survive if they were trapped in a swarm of ants. Let's go, we will charge out together. Overlord Sword roared as he wielded a heavy purplish-gold sword that was half a meter wide. He charged at the very front, charging towards the dense swarm of black armored ants in an attempt to tear them apart and kill his way out. Hua Luoyu, silver-masked genius, and the rest followed closely behind, using all their strength to kill the ferocious black armored ants. Yi Chunfeng, who had intentionally concealed his strength, mixed in with the crowd and released the black heavenly flames to block the attacks of the fist-sized black armored ants with abnormally sharp teeth that could crush heaven artifacts. Heavenly flames. Feeling the scorching energy released by the black heavenly flames, many people revealed shocked expressions. The way they looked at Yi Chunfeng had a subtle change in their eyes. Heavenly flames were almost extinct in the Xingluo continent. Even if they encountered an ordinary person, they would not be able to subdue them. Thus, when they saw that Yi Chunfeng was controlling an extremely powerful heavenly flame, many people revealed envious expressions. Some even had evil intentions. Very good, since you are controlling a type of heavenly flame, then I will leave the matter of opening a path to you. Overlord Sword concealed the greed in his eyes very well as he pointed at Yi Chunfeng and gave an order that could not be disobeyed. Yi Chunfeng hated Overlord Sword's tone. He frowned slightly and coldly refused. My strength is limited. It is better for you to open a path. You dare to disobey my orders? Overlord Sword said with a gloomy expression. A powerful evil aura burst out from his body as he locked onto Yi Chunfeng. I am not your subordinate. What does your orders have to do with me? Yi Chunfeng snorted and retorted. When Overlord Sword saw that Yi Chunfeng dared to challenge his authority in front of everyone, his expression turned extremely gloomy. His eyes were filled with killing intent. All right, Overlord Sword. Let's talk about this after we break out of this encirclement. Seeing the increasing number of black armored ants surrounding them, Hua Luoyu appeared beside Overlord Sword. She coldly glanced at Yi Chunfeng and said in a low voice, All right, I will deal with him after we get out. Overlord's sword glared at Yi Chunfeng and fiercely waved his purple-gold heavy sword, crushing the black armored ants that were crazily surging over. He was like a divine weapon that could split the heavens and earth as he continued to break out of the encirclement. Yi Chunfeng did not care about Hualuyu and the hidden killing intent in Overlord's sword's eyes. He did not want to be with Overlord's sword and the others in the first place. And if Overlord's sword and Hualuyu really did not know what was good for them and wanted to deal with him, he did not mind experiencing the strength of the top 10 experts of the star field. The black armored ants were several miles long. It took a lot of effort for the group to finally tear through the black armored ants and kill their way out. After killing their way out of the encirclement, the group continued to fly towards the ancient ruins according to the markings on the map. About an hour later, the group escaped the pursuit of the ferocious black armored ants and appeared in a rugged and deathly still stone mountain. Mobile reading site, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record your reading record. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 853. Huff, huff. We are finally safe. Hiding in the stone mountains, Xingluo Heaven City's disciples were panting heavily. They quickly sat cross-legged on the ground to recover their exhausted soul power. Suddenly, an overbearing sword light traversed the void with a suffocating force and slashed at Yi Chunfeng, who was standing at the edge. Boom! A deep sword mark appeared on the ground where Yi Chunfeng had just been. Several tall stone mountains shattered with a loud bang, turning into boundless powder that scattered with the wind. Your reaction isn't slow, but it is a pity that you have provoked me. Today you must die. Overlord's sword looked at Yi Chunfeng, who had dodged to the void, and revealed an unruly and tyrannical smile as he spoke with a sinister tone. Overlord's sword, I know you are interested in the heavenly fire that I subdued. Yi Chunfeng summoned the black blazing heavenly fire and retorted, the heavenly fire is right here. Let's see if you have the life to take it. You have guts. Overlord's sword's eyes contracted as he brandished the purple-gold heavy sword in his hand. Shocking sword lights crisscrossed in the void and slashed at Yi Chunfeng's body with formidable force. Break! Yi Chunfeng roared and a heavy hammer weighing more than 100,000 jin appeared in his hand. It was a top-grade celestial artifact. The power of his 5 insight acupoints burst out and he smashed it against the incoming sword light with irresistible force. Boom! 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 There was a series of earth-shattering explosions as the heaven artifact heavy hammer that contained 15 million kilograms of force forcefully shattered the sword light from Overlord's sword. It was like a meteor as it smashed towards Overlord's sword. Sword Dao intent break. Overlord's sword didn't expect Yi Chunfeng's strength to be so horrifying and be able to break his attack with brute force. He immediately fused 70 sword Dao patterns into the purple-gold heavy sword and slashed with great force. Suddenly, a strange sword light flickered in Yi Chunfeng's soul sea. Yi Chunfeng, who was getting more proficient in controlling the sword's soul, fused the sword's soul into the heavy hammer and instantly amplified the destructive force of the heavy hammer. He then smashed the heavy hammer forward. Dong! The two treasures collided with each other, releasing a destructive power that bombarded the other's body. What left the onlookers astounded was that after this clash, the 70 sword Dao patterns that filled the purplish-gold broadsword were completely shattered by the sword's soul. Yi Chunfeng, who looked like a 6th-grade defiant beast monarch, didn't move an inch. However, Overlord's sword lost control of his body as he retreated 5 steps before stabilizing his body. So strong, this person is so strong. Why have I never heard of this person in Xingluo Sky City? That's right. This person's face is too unfamiliar. I really don't know where he came from. His attack power actually suppressed Overlord Jian's. After witnessing the scene of Yi Chunfeng breaking the attack with brute force, Many people were shocked by his strength and began to guess his identity. Even Hua Luoyu revealed a look of astonishment. Although she was stronger than Overlord Jian, the difference in strength between them was not that great. If Yi Qinfeng could defeat Overlord Jian, he could also defeat her. This gave her the idea of joining forces with Overlord's sword to kill Yi Qinfeng and seize the Black Skyfire. The top 10 experts of the stellar domain are only SOSO, Yi Qinfeng said disdainfully as he looked at Overlord Jian, whose blood was boiling and whose face was flushed red. Kid, I'll let you experience the consequences of going against me. Overlord Jian took a deep breath as a 500-meter-long black flood dragon phantom that was covered in black dragon scales and had a single horn emerged from his body. It roared at Yi Qinfeng. As expected of one of the top 10 experts of the stellar domain, this Overlord Jian does have the qualifications to be arrogant. That's right. With the Black Flood Dragon as his spiritual beast, Overlord Jian is destined to become an expert of his generation. Sensing the dragon's might released by Overlord Jian's spiritual beast, the Black Flood Dragon, many of the geniuses in Xingluo Sky City felt pressured and found it difficult to breathe. Een. Suddenly, a dragon's roar also sounded from Yi Qinfeng's body. This dragon's roar was far stronger than the one emitted by the Black Flood Dragon, making Overlord Jian's soul tremble. In the next moment, endless blood light poured out of Yi Qinfeng's soul sea. The Blood Dragon Emperor, which exuded a domineering aura, appeared in Yi Qinfeng's mind. It hovered in the void and roared at Overlord Jian's spiritual beast. The terrifying sound waves were like stormy waves, shaking the Black Flood Dragon Phantom until it trembled like water ripples, making Overlord Jian feel the pressure of a higher level. What? Am I seeing things? This person's spiritual beast is actually a dragon, a blood dragon. Oh my god, when did such a terrifying spiritual beast appear in Xingluo Sky City? Who is this person? Could he be the leader of the top 10 experts of the stellar domain in disguise? No, even the spiritual beast of the leader of the top 10 experts of the stellar domain is not as terrifying as his. I really didn't expect Xingluo Sky City to be hiding such a shocking talent. Seeing Yi Qinfeng's spiritual beast, almost everyone present was shocked. Some even sympathized with Overlord Jian for provoking a great enemy that he couldn't afford to provoke. So what if you have a top-notch spiritual beast? You are destined to be the loser today. Overlord Jian took a deep breath and suppressed the panic in his heart. He merged with the Black Flood Dragon and attacked Yi Qinfeng with the purple gold heavy sword. He wanted to rely on the difference in realm to suppress Yi Qinfeng. Bloody Slaughter 1000 Heavy Sword. Overlord Jian roared and unleashed his sword Dao Intent and blood Dao Intent to the extreme. The surging sword tide and the blood waves merged together, turning into layers of blood sword tide that swept towards Yi Qinfeng, wanting to tear his body apart. Sword Soul Break. After fusing with the Blood Dragon Emperor, Yi Qinfeng didn't use any Dao Intent. He only erupted with physical strength and astonishing soul power, waving the heavy hammer that had fused with the sword's soul to meet the attack. Boom! Yi Qinfeng smashed the heavy hammer in his hand on the blood sword tide. Endless sword power leaked out from the heavy hammer, directly tearing apart the layers of blood sword tide. Following that, Yi Qinfeng continued to brandish his heavy hammer and fiercely attacked. The sword soul with astonishing offensive power continuously tore apart the blood sword tide that was churning in the void and rapidly closed in on Overlord Jian, whose expression had changed greatly. Overlord Jian's invincible. Seeing that the Bloody Slaughter 1000 heavy sword was broken by Yi Qinfeng with the power of the sword soul, Overlord Jian took a deep breath and used the move that he had created by fusing many soul skills. It was also the strongest move that he had mastered. He had used this move several times and instantly killed Class 3 combat beast emperors. The sword Dao pattern and blood Dao intent crazily fused into the purplish gold heavy sword. His entire body became one with the heavy sword, carrying an incomparably tyrannical and boundless killing intent. It shattered the void and slashed towards Yi Chunfeng with unstoppable force. Facing Overlord Jian's strongest attack, Yi Chunfeng still didn't use any Dao intent or any Dao skill. Instead, he waved the heavy hammer that was filled with sword soul to meet the attack head-on. Boom! When the heavy hammer in Yi Chunfeng's hand struck the invincible Overlord's sword, it caused the heavens and earth to tremble violently, forming a boundless storm. The stone mountains within a 1-mile radius were blasted to pieces, razing them to the ground. Although Overlord Jian's move was terrifying, it couldn't withstand the power of the sword's soul. In less than a breath's time, the invincible Overlord's sword was torn apart by the sword's soul. The heavy hammer ruthlessly smashed onto Overlord Jian's body like a hot knife through butter, sending him flying. A large amount of blood spurted out from his mouth. Just as Yi Chunfeng heavily injured Overlord Jian and was about to kill him, the fierce battle between the two of them triggered the restriction in the stone forest. It caused the restriction to mutate, forming a black storm filled with countless array patterns that swept towards everyone. A genius from Xingluo Heaven City, who was too close to the storm, was swept by the storm. In an instant, the terrifying array patterns tore him apart, leaving nothing behind. Overlord Jian, you better pray that you don't meet me. Otherwise, I will definitely kill you. After witnessing the terror of the array pattern storm, Yi Chunfeng had no choice but to give up the idea of killing Overlord Jian. He coldly warned and flew out of the stone mountain. As for Hua Luoyu and the others, they were also intimidated by the array pattern storm. They pushed their speed to the limit and fled in all directions. Mobile reading site, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the save button at the bottom to record this reading record. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support.